Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, everyone. All summons have Sss-Level talents. Chapter 51. Countless dark fire snakes floated through the air and merged into Haiming's body. Its size quickly shrank, it picked up the heavenly sword in its mouth, and came to lie down next to Chen Lin to rest. Chen Lin also finished maintaining the strengthening and recovery techniques, and the feeling of mental weakness instantly came over him. He put away the heavenly sword, transformed into the heavenly staff form, and began to sit cross-legged to recover. Zhang Wuyu did not leave when he saw this, but stayed aside and remained silent. About half an hour passed, and after a moment of recovery, Chen Lin opened his eyes. After looking at Haiming, he communicated with his mind and said, "Can we still fight?" Haiming opened his dark blue vertical pupils and stood up slowly. "No problem, Master." With its powerful physique, it has purified 700 or 800 poisons, and its physical strength has improved a bit, which is enough to continue fighting the next battle. Chen Lin nodded, looked at Zhang Wuyu, and said, "Thank you, mentor, for your protection." Although he has a silver plate, even if he is attacked by a mutant beast, he will be fine, but naturally he can't say nothing if others have good intentions. "Well, don't take too many risks in the future, be careful," Zhang Wuyu replied. Then she turned and left. Seeing this scene, Chen Lin clicked on number 21, opened the map and confirmed the route, then rode Haiming and set off. Just like when they came, one person and one beast passed through countless giant trees and shrubs at high speed, and crossed mountains and rivers. After swallowing the three-headed snake and its life crystal, Haiming's size directly increased by 1 meter, and his evolution value increased by 10 points. This is several times more than what a level 39 blood-scale giant crocodile can provide. At this rate, it may only take 4 or 5 days for Haiming to evolve again. With this evolution, Haiming's life level should be able to reach the level of advanced summons. Talents will also be fully promoted to a level. At that time, the combat power will undoubtedly increase a lot and become even more terrifying. Thinking of this, Chen Lin laughed. This feeling of being able to continuously become stronger is really addictive. It's just a bit hard for Haiming, and then it will fight to the death. At this time, a huge noise suddenly appeared in the distance, the branches and leaves continued to shake violently, and the ground trembled as if some terrifying giant was approaching. With a roar, a bull suddenly rushed over. Its whole body was covered with thick and hard dark yellow scales, and its 2 horns were more than 30 meters long. The ground cracked under the giant hoof, and all the trees blocking it collapsed. The momentum was unstoppable. The second mission target is level 45, Angry Horned Bull. Chen Lin didn't hesitate and immediately gave the strengthening spell. Under the effect of increasing any skill by 50% in the form of the heavenly staff, all attributes were increased to 30%. Haiming roared, his body grew rapidly, black flames exploded, and golden light emerged at the same time. In just an instant, the combat power is at full strength. At this moment, the angry horned bull had already rushed in, extremely fast, staring fiercely at the giant black wolf that had broken into its territory. 2 pairs of sharp horns collided hard. Haiming raised his forelimbs and blocked it with his 2 palms. Boom! Under the terrifying impact, Haiming was pushed back crazily in an instant, plowing long deep marks. Boom boom! Giant trees were knocked down one after another, and the 2 giant beasts rushed thousands of meters away in the blink of an eye. In the air, the drone quickly accelerated to keep up. In the command post, the female officer made some calculations and said quickly, "At this speed, they will soon approach the level 30 mutant beast area. Notice to tell the students on the route to stay away. Chen Lin's summons will not take care of them." The female officer nodded upon hearing this and immediately started operating. Haiming stretched out his claws and attached them to the black light. He suddenly exerted force and knocked down the angry horned bull. Boom! The huge body fell to the ground, smoke and dust billowing. At this time, a team of 2 men and 3 women, after running for a few hundred meters, looked back at this scene, a little shocked. "Is this why the headquarters asked us to leave?" "Hoo-hoo, it's a good thing you walked fast, otherwise you would have died if you were affected." "Wait, no, one is level 45, why is the other only level 16? "Haiming, the name is very strange. It doesn't look like a mutant beast. Tell me, this horse riding is level 16. The 5 people looked at each other in disbelief. The female instructor stationed nearby noticed the movement and immediately prepared to rush over to deal with it. However, Zhang Wuyu appeared silently, stood in front of her, and said, "Don't worry, that's the summon of my first-year young student." Hearing this, the female instructor was stunned, and her eyes were instantly shocked. "Freshman year? Are you kidding me?" Seeing her reaction, the corners of Zhang Wuyu's mouth rose slightly, and he said calmly, "Well, he is indeed outstanding in this class." The female instructor looked dull. How could she be excellent? Is she a monster? She had never heard of him having such combat power as rank 4 in his freshman year. Is this the value of the top universities in Daxia? The female instructor's eyes were complicated. "He is your student." Zhang Wuyu's expression froze, and he coughed and said, "Well, that's right. She and concubine Ji have been playmates since childhood. Her students are equal to her own, which makes sense." Hearing this, the female instructor suddenly looked envious. Half an hour later, Haiming finally devoured the angry horned bull. He glanced around with a ferocious gaze. When he didn't find the owner, he immediately turned around and returned. Not long after, it discovered Chen Lin, who was being chased and beaten by a toad that was more than 50 meters tall. It became extremely furious in an instant. The figure rushed over in the blink of an eye, and struck out with a terrifying claw, killing the level 36 mutated beast instantly. The jet black flames immediately surged up and quickly devoured it cleanly. Seeing this scene, Chen Lin breathed a sigh of relief. As he was on his way, he was stopped by the swamp demon frog. It happened to be very restrained by Chen Lin, with its elastic skin and flesh, completely ignoring the damage caused by the weight of the sword. And the heavenly sword couldn't be pulled out, so he was worried that something would happen to Haiming. "It's Haiming, it's useless, it puts the master in danger." Hearing Haiming's sad voice in his mind, Chen Lin was stunned for a moment, then smiled and touched it. "It's okay, you did a good job." He used the recovery technique to comfort him for a while. After resting for half an hour, one person and one beast set off to hunt for mutant beasts above level 40. After the 2 tasks were completed, Chen Lin did not choose to go back to the pickup point for delivery. Going back and forth like that takes too long. The less you contribute, the less you will earn. The top priority now is to let Haiming evolve as soon as possible, and then he can reach level 20 and enter the transfer dungeon. Ever since he learned that the situation of the human race was not good, Chen Lin had always had an inexplicable sense of urgency. In the middle of the night, roars resounded in the mountains. Black Ming's body was wrapped with terrifying power, and at his feet were 2 level 42 mutant beasts. The dark flames are devouring their corpses and constantly transforming them. Finally, it merged into Haiming's body. Chen Lin was breathing heavily. His mental energy had been exhausted to the limit, he couldn't even maintain the recovery technique, and his mind was extremely weak. My physical strength was also close to exhaustion, and my whole body was numb and painful. He forced Haiming to block another mutated beast with his body for several minutes, and almost capsized the boat. However, the rewards are worth it. In the whole day, 15 mutant beasts above level 40 were killed. Haiming's normal size has grown to 58 meters, and all attributes have increased by a full 58 points, collectively exceeding 300 points. If we were to face the raging horned bull now, we would be able to solve it in more than 10 minutes. And like the 2 level 42 mutant beasts next to them, they were crushed directly and killed in a few minutes. The evolution value has also been increased by 195 points, which is only 1020 away from perfection. It's time to go back. After taking a look at the night, Chen Lin asked Haiming to lower his head, and then jumped up. At the Hengshan Basin headquarters, everyone breathed a sigh of relief when they saw Chen Lin finally returning. "It's terrible. I killed 15 mutant beasts above level 40 in one day. If I converted this into contribution points, it would be more than 2,000, right?" The female officer swallowed her saliva and couldn't help but exclaimed. After hearing this, everyone looked in admiration. "Now at our Hengshan base, the student with the highest contribution points is only 700, right?" "That's right, he's also a senior at Yunk Academy, Qin Kong. The #1 scholar in Dongtian 3 years ago. Where are the other bases?" Yang Xiao asked. The female officer moved her fingers quickly and responded quickly. "The Luoxiang base where Bailong and several other academies are located, the highest contribution points of students is 1,000, followed by Yuntian Academy in the south with 890, and Qingtian Academy in the west with 850 inches. A total of hundreds of schools participated in this mutant beast cleanup operation, distributed in more than a dozen military bases. Start with the mountain range with the largest area and the largest number of mutant beasts, and then sweep the surrounding areas in sequence. It may last several months, or even longer, until the mutant beast group is reduced to the point where it cannot threaten the city. Why are you so far apart? Yang Xiao frowned when he saw that not only the students were ranked first, but also the Luoshang base was far ahead in terms of the overall cleanup progress. The female officer said, Bailong Academy ranks first in the group every year, so most people would naturally prefer to sign up there. This is another generation of geniuses, with geniuses emerging in spurts. You can imagine how terrifying their competition is. Everyone is giving their best and is not willing to lag behind him. However, this is a good thing. The faster they clean up, the more energy they can spare later to help other relatively backward bases. Except for our 5 bases, which are managed by top universities, the situation in the other 13 bases is very pessimistic. The number of mutant beasts above level 20 has basically not decreased. Yang Xiao nodded, so we must seize the time and try our best to support other bases. Looking at Chen Lin's figure on the screen, he laughed. With this kid here, he should be able to do it. ... When we arrived at the pickup point, it was already 2:30, and the road was still brightly lit. Many students used the mutated beasts dragged back by armed vehicles to have an open-air barbecue. The aroma was overwhelming, and some even started to shout. The female soldier from before saw Chen Lin coming in and immediately came up. Is your mission completed? Yes. Chen Lin nodded and used number 21 for delivery. Oh my god, many senior students can only complete third-level tasks now, but you are only a freshman and you are better than them. The female soldier exclaimed. She didn't understand how terrifying Chen Lin's combat power span was, she just thought it was very, very powerful. Soon, after transferring 400 contribution points to Chen Lin, his ranking suddenly shot up like a rocket, from 1,245 to 10th. Chen Lin didn't care and turned back towards the dormitory. As soon as he opened the door, Feng Yi rushed over and looked at him like a monster. Tell the truth, Chen Lin, are you a foreigner wearing human skin? This range of combat power is simply too exaggerated. Chen Lin smiled and said nothing, and sat on the chair. Just like yesterday, the 3 of them left a lot of barbecue for him. Now the university common forum has exploded. Feng Yi sat next to him and said in shock, everyone mistakenly thought that it was the old student who led you and severely condemned this behavior. If Chen Lin had previously completed a third-level mission and directly received 100 contribution points, there is still some room for belief. So now, almost everyone is questioning it and thinks it is too fake. Haha, Elder Qin Kong is in a terrible situation now. He is the biggest target of suspicion, and many people are targeting him. Chen Lin asked curiously, why? Senior Qin Kong is the number 1 person in our Skylark Academy. He is the only one who is strong enough to bring you to this level. Feng Yi said happily while eating melon with a special machine. Now people from almost every school are on the forum, talking about your 10th ranking. First-year student, level 16, killed mutant beasts above level 40. I dare not boast like that, no one believes it. Li Zongfeng said calmly from the side, Chen Lin can defeat me with 1 move. With such fighting power, there is nothing strange about it. Feng Yi looked disdainful, you were the most resistant to this before, so why are you taking the initiative to talk about it now? Besides, don't bully me. I didn't know in the dungeon that you were knocked to the ground by a random slap from He Ming. Li Zongfeng silently took out the long knife from the ring. Under the light, the cold light was dazzling. Seeing this scene, Feng Yi shut his mouth instantly. At the same time, Luoshang base. Xiao Yongxu dragged his tired body and walked to the access point with difficulty. At this moment, he was covered in injuries, and the armor he was wearing was full of signs of damage, all of which told how brutal the battle was. But there was no trace of embarrassment on his face, and it was full of happy emotions. Now he just wants to find his mentor and senior sister to discuss how they feel about him killing 2 level 36 mutant beasts. However, When Xiao Yongshu walked into the access point, he happened to see Chen Lin's ranking rising rapidly on the screen, firmly ranking 10th. His excitement came to an abrupt end and he froze in place. The smile on his face gradually disappeared. After being stunned for a long time, Xiao Yongshu silently stepped forward, found a soldier to hand over the task, and then continued to receive it without saying a word during the whole process. Then, he walked firmly towards the mountains. The soldiers watching this scene were a little moved. With such a serious injury, you still have to continue performing the mission. Are you going to risk your life? On the road, a team supporting each other was stunned when they saw Xiao Yunzu's unyielding look. They looked at each other and read two words in each other's eyes. Crazy. A man gritted his teeth and said, I was able to reach the top 5 in the province and get to where I am today all because of my own hard work. Now, there are people who are more talented than me and work harder than me. He doesn't even want to rest for a second. Brothers, take on 5 more missions. No problem, let's go. The eyes of the 4 people seemed to be filled with flames, and they were extremely enthusiastic. Soon, many people who saw this situation silently gave up the idea of having a meal to relax, picked up their armor weapons again, and rushed to the Black Mountains. The soldiers at each access point suddenly became busy. Everyone in the command center who was yawning and preparing to sleep suddenly stopped. Seeing what was happening on the screen, the commander rubbed his temples and couldn't stop the corners of his mouth from twitching. Do these students not want to rest at all? Originally, he thought it was cruel to let these students who were not mature enough to clean up the mutant beasts. I didn't expect them to be even more ruthless. He didn't even need to rest, he was fighting day and night. The commander took a deep breath, not knowing whether to be happy or worried for a moment. Sitting on his bed, Chen Lin turned on the special machine, and saw several messages. Su Qingqing. Wow, brother Chen Lin, you are so strong, 10th. This is the ranking of students in all the schools in Daxia who are cleaning up mutant beasts this time. Even the seniors are suppressed by you. Can you take your sister with you? Seeing this, Chen Lin couldn't help laughing. Before, he was a junior, but now he is a younger brother. In a few days, won't you call me baby? Chen Lin replied, later, and then clicked into the friend request list. Suddenly, beautiful girls' avatars appeared one by one, all of them were very beautiful, worthy of being the Skylark School. This is probably the student number revealed by Su Qingqing. Chen Lin silently ignored it and only agreed to the avatar of a boy named Qin Kong. It seems that he has been waiting for a long time, and a message came directly. Qin Kong. Junior Chen Lin. Chen Lin. Yes, yes. Finally I added you as my friend. You screwed me over. Many people are now calling me shameless. Quote. Without dwelling on this matter, Qin Kong asked curiously, tell me honestly, did you really complete the 4th level task alone? Yes. Seeing this answer, Qin Kong took a breath. Even though he had prepared himself mentally, he was still a little shocked. As the top scholar in Dongtian, it would be very difficult for him to fight even if he crossed a big turn, let alone like Chen Lin. Junior Chen Lin, my 2 friends and I are planning to take on the 5th level task tomorrow to hunt the 52 level giant rock dragon lizard. I wonder if you can join us. Seeing this, Chen Lin did not rush to reply and started thinking. With Heiming's current combat power, it is basically not a problem to deal with a 49-level mutant beast. With 334 strength, 347 constitution, 340 agility, and 318 magic attributes, all of which can exceed 1,200 when jauntized. However, it is still a bit difficult to kill a level 52 mutant beast. But if someone assists, it should be possible. Okay, how should the spoils be distributed? Qin Kong laughed. What do you think about this, junior brother Chen Lin? I need the life crystal and the body of the giant rock dragon lizard, you can take the contribution points. No problem. After discussing the matter and agreeing on the meeting place and time, Chen Lin lay down to sleep. The lack of mental power made him feel extremely sleepy. The next day, after resting for 4 hours, Chen Lin was full of energy. The strong physical fitness brought by the attribute improvement made him more and more inhuman. After a simple wash, Chen Lin walked outside the gate of the base, where 2 men and 1 woman were waiting. Qin Kong recognized Chen Lin. waved his hand immediately, and said, "Junior brother Chen Lin, here. I shouldn't be late, right? Of course, we're early." Qin Kong smiled kindly. Next to him, a girl with a fair and beautiful face and a graceful figure under a delicate white robe looked at Chen Lin with bright eyes. "Hello, my name is Yi Kexi." "Wang Yao," another boy said. Chen Lin nodded. "Let's go now." Can. The four of them got into the armed vehicle, and with the engine roaring, they headed deeper into the mountains. On the way, Qin Kong explained, "The target giant rock dragon lizard is stronger than ordinary mutant beasts. It has a trace of king-level blood and its talent is not clear. We must be extra careful when dealing with it. When the time comes, Wang Yao and I will be the main attack, and I hope that the Heavenly Healing Saint Master will provide buffs and healing from a distance." "Junior Chen Lin, how is the combat power of your summons?" Chen Lin said calmly, "It is not a problem to resist the giant rock dragon lizard." After hearing this, the three people's eyes suddenly lit up, and they felt that their chances of winning had increased by several %. You found the wrong person. Although they all believed in Chen Lin, they didn't know exactly how. If the combat power only barely reaches the level of a level 40 mutant beast, then the subsequent battle with the giant rock dragon lizard will basically have no effect. Now, seeing Chen Lin so confident, it was a reassurance. The armed vehicle traveled 200 kilometers. After the four people got out of the vehicle, they continued on foot for several hours. The level 30 mutant beasts that attacked them on the way were all instantly killed by Qin Kong, so fast that Chen Lin could hardly catch them. Yi Kexi chatted from the side. The hidden profession of Gale Sword Master is characterized by speed. In addition, Brother Qin has melted a lot of light spirit stones on the armor, which has almost reached the extreme speed. Chen Lin nodded, indeed very quickly. At this time, Qin Kong in front stopped. After taking a look at the map, he turned to the three of them and said, "This is where the giant rock dragon lizard occupies. I'm going to lure it here, everyone be prepared to resist." "No need," Chen Lin said calmly. With a slight movement of thought, a 58-meter black giant wolf descended, and its violent power swept away instantly, surprising the three of them. Ouch! The ferocious roar resounded thousands of meters away, scaring countless birds and flying away in panic. Some mutant beasts also quickly left in fear. Along with the sound of this voice, inside the rock cave, a pair of yellow vertical eyes like lanterns suddenly opened, and a terrifying aura exploded in an instant. Roar! Amidst the domineering roar that penetrated the sky, the giant rock dragon lizard walked out, and the ground shook with every footfall. Looking at the huge body of more than 500 meters, the whole body is covered with scales like rock, with yellow light flowing, indicating indestructibility. The power wrapped around the body is even more frightening, like a dragon-like creature, extremely terrifying. The three people looked solemnly, feeling that they still underestimated the giant rock dragon lizard and were not cautious enough. Chen Lin's face remained calm and unaffected, and he silently communicated with Haiming with his mind, telling it who its allies were. Haiming nodded to show his understanding, and his body instantly grew in size, turning into a giant beast 230 meters tall and nearly 500 meters long. The dark flames exploded, golden light emerged, and the power suddenly became more terrifying. This sudden change immediately shocked the three of them. Ahead, the giant rock dragon lizard showed contempt in its vertical eyes. It could feel that the life level of the beast in front of it was not as high as it. It was those dark flames that made it feel the slightest threat. Roar! I give you one chance, surrender, or die. Ouch! Trash! Unworthy! Hearing this, the giant rock dragon lizard became furious. With a sudden step on his forelimbs, the ground instantly exploded and sharp stone pillars tens of meters thick, strong enough to penetrate a level 40 mutant beast, rushed towards Haiming. Without evading, Haiming stood in front of the four of them and relied on his Vajra body to directly block them. Black light appeared in the sharp claws, and it was smashed instantly. Boom! At this time, the giant rock dragon lizard roared over, and its heavy palms, which were more than 100 meters thick, crushed the air and struck hard. Haiming quickly dodged to the side, and in an instant, the ground where it was originally shattered, and countless gravel flew away. Then he swung his claw away, but only scraped off a layer of scale skin, and the scar was only slight. Roar! Ants! The giant rock dragon lizard slapped it with a palm, this time with the power of talent. The yellow light flashed brightly, and the sudden increase in weight was terrifying, like a mountain of Tartars smashing over, and the air exploded. Boom! The golden light protecting the body didn't last long before it shattered, and He Ming's figure was pushed back dozens of meters before he could stop. Seeing the battle start in an instant, Qin Kong immediately said, Kexi gives the group buffs. The individual buffs are given to Chen Lin's summons. This battle depends on it. Qin Kong was very decisive and understood that the giant rock dragon lizard was a bit stronger than imagined. This is a mutated beast that still has a trace of king-level blood after reaching level 50. It is not something they can kill beyond the great transformation. Even if you are at the same level, fighting will be very difficult. Thinking of this, Qin Kong smiled bitterly. But at the same time, his heart was extremely shocked. The combat power of Junior Chen Lin's summoned creature is too terrifying. It can withstand a level 52 mutated beast at level 16, but there is a whole 36 levels in between. Yi Kexi nodded immediately, and his body lit up with a shining golden light, like a holy goddess descending. His aura was suddenly sacred and noble and could not be blasphemed. 4 5-pointed lines suddenly appeared at the feet of the 3 people and the black giant wolf, and a stream of power continued to spread. Then, all the halos were applied to the giant black wolf. Instantly, the 4-dimensional attributes increased by less than half, and they all grew a lot. But Yi Kexi's face was filled with astonishment. This summoned object must be too terrifying. The increase rate has actually weakened so much. When these gains fall on Qin Kong, they are at least doubled. But these only lasted for a moment. Yi Kexi kept moving. With a slight movement of thought, I used my natural power and the protection of the goddess of punishment. After a short period of pulling and chanting, a goddess slowly appeared above the giant black wolf, holding a sharp sword in both hands and ignoring the world. The closed eyes opened, and in an instant, the terrifying power of killing all things was suppressed. Chen Lin silently took out the heavenly Quan sword staff, and in the form of the heavenly staff, he used the strengthening technique. With the superposition of many buffs, He Ming's strength attribute directly reached 2000, and his physique and agility were also the same. Moreover, the increase in magic power caused the temperature of the dark flames to become even higher. Even if they were hundreds of meters apart, the 3 of them felt the terrifying heat, as if they were in a furnace. Such a change immediately made the giant rock dragon lizard extremely dignified. It looked at the 4 figures as small as dust and raised its eyes furiously. Qin Kong looked tense, pulled out his sword, and the muscles in his arms bulged. Directly use your talents to reach the extreme realm. Boom! The soil under his feet exploded, and Qin Kong's figure seemed to teleport, stepping directly on the stone scales to appear above the giant rock dragon lizard, and swung more than a dozen swords in the blink of an eye. Dang dang! Every strike was like cutting against a hard rock, without breaking the defense at all. For the giant rock dragon lizard, this feels nothing, not even a tickle. Just like swatting mosquitoes, its giant palm looks slow, but in fact it swats away extremely fast. Qin Kong did not dare to do harm and immediately retreated. However, just as he jumped away from the giant rock dragon lizard's head, his body was hanging in the air. Roar! The giant rock dragon lizard suddenly looked up to the sky and roared, with a cruel arc at the corner of its mouth. The next second, the yellow airflow exploded and spread hundreds of meters around to form a field. Suddenly, extremely heavy gravity pressed on Qin Kong's shoulders and head, and the figure fell directly. Boom! A small crater was made in the ground, and smoke and dust billowed. Qin Kong stood up with difficulty, and suddenly a giant palm from above stepped on him to blow away the smoke and dust, bringing with it a large shadow. Seeing this scene, Yi Kexi's expression changed drastically, and he immediately used all defensive methods, regardless of mana consumption. However, the barriers that rose up were as brittle as paper and couldn't hold on for even a second before they shattered. Upon seeing this, Qin Kong couldn't help but feel a little desperate, but he immediately gritted his teeth, ignoring the cracks in his flesh and blood, and tried to break out of the area with all his strength. Just when the giant palm was about to crush him, a black shadow rushed over instantly, and the terrifying impact directly knocked the giant rock dragon lizard over. Boom! The strong wind blew in all directions, like a huge mountain collapsing, the earth shook, smoke and dust billowed, and the sound was terrifying. Looking at the huge black wolf standing in front of him, Qin Kong looked grateful, and after losing the weight of gravity, he quickly moved away from the place. Wang Yao breathed a sigh of relief and stopped while rushing to save people. The two returned to Chen Lin and Yi Kexi, who were several hundred meters away. Sorry, Qin Kong said with a wry smile, I didn't expect that the giant rock dragon lizard has a second talent. Its combat power may be more powerful than the level 55 mutant beast. Now, they can't get involved at all, it's completely useless. Before, I was worried about whether Chen Lin was reliable. As a result, the polls have now reversed. It's okay. It's normal for accidents to happen. After all, the mission can only provide location and general information. Hearing this, Qin Kong didn't feel much better and was still feeling guilty. Originally, the three of them took the 5th level mission to help Hengshan Base clear out highly dangerous mutant beasts. After all, only a dozen or so instructors can complete the 5th level task, which is too difficult. At the same time, it also proves the limit of one's own strength. Let him test it first. If there is no possibility of being defeated, he can escape at a speed far exceeding that of the same level. Unexpectedly, the giant rock dragon lizard turned out to be an overlord-level mutant beast with 2 talents. If Chen Lin hadn't been invited and his summons were there, he would have died. Wang Yao and Yi Kexi may not be spared either. Watching the yellow field unfold again, and the black giant wolf being ferociously suppressed under the terrifying gravity, Qin Kong worriedly asked, can it win? Next to her, Yi Kexi gritted her teeth, with beads of sweat streaming down her cheeks. She had been trying her best to maintain Haiming's gain and healing. Her mana was being consumed very quickly. If it doesn't work, let's retreat together and give up on this mission. Chen Lin's face was calm. You guys retreat 1,000 meters, Haiming is going to open up. The three of them were suddenly shocked. Isn't this full strength? After just being stunned for a moment, they nodded immediately and ran away without hesitation. Half a minute later, when the three of them stood 1,000 meters away and looked back, a ferocious roar suddenly resounded throughout the world. Boom! The terrifying jet black flames suddenly exploded, spreading directly over a kilometer range and burning everything into ashes. The brutal power reached the extreme at this moment, making everyone tremble in their hearts. Under the terrifying and dark sea of fire, the earth was dry and cracked, with countless cracks spreading. All the grass, shrubs and trees withered, and it seemed as if the end was coming within a few thousand meters. A 700-meter-long vicious shadow slowly condensed, exuding a terrifying aura of greed and desire to devour everything. Looking at this scene, the three of them all turned pale, and an inexplicable deep fear arose in their hearts. Yi Kexi's legs went weak, her body trembled, and she couldn't stand up. She felt that the goddess of punishment, who was sheltering on the black underworld, was directly torn apart by the power of its ferocious phantom, as if one mountain could not contain 2 tigers. This kind of impact was no less powerful to her than the god she believed in, who was slapped to death. The giant rock dragon lizard's eyes were frightened, and under the dark flames, the scales on its body were gradually melting layer by layer. As soon as the yellow air flow leaves the body, it will be swallowed up and cannot be expanded at all. The heavy earth field is suppressed. Roar! How is it possible? Your life breath is so weak, how can you have such terrifying power? Its vertical eyes widened, and its voice sounded incredible. Ouch! Trash! Don't deserve to know. Hearing this disdainful meaning, the giant rock dragon lizard immediately became angry. Twice, it looked down upon itself at all. Roar! I want your bones to be gone. The giant rock dragon lizard roared up, and its huge palm rushed away from the black flames with yellow light and captured it instantly. Haiming did not dodge or dodge, and the vicious shadow on his body raised its sharp claws condensed with terrifying black flames, tearing away like thunder and lightning. The collision between the two sides exploded into black and yellow shock waves, and the loud noise spread in all directions with great momentum. Roar! The giant rock dragon lizard felt a sharp pain in his palm, and the powerful defensive scales were directly broken under the black fire claws of the vicious phantom. The terrifying temperature burned and slowly devoured its life. Roar! The giant rock dragon lizard finally panicked, and used all his strength to activate the power of his talent, and the yellow light shone brighter and brighter. It suddenly turned around, and its 100-meter-long tail that looked like an iron ball at the end was instantly rolled up by the fierce wind and roared away. In this instant hit, Haiming reacted extremely quickly, and the figure instantly rushed hundreds of meters as the ground exploded. Boom! The giant tail swept across, directly blasting the hard mountains next to it, and countless stone fragments fell down. Arriving in front of the giant rock dragon lizard, Haiming directly raised his claws and swung away, the vicious shadows moving in unison. Roar! Injured by another blow, the giant rock dragon lizard roared miserably. It has relied on strong defense to grow up and has hardly suffered any damage. So very unaccustomed to pain. The giant rock dragon lizard's eyes revealed ferocity, and it raised its forelimbs high and struck down with a bang. The ground shook instantly, and countless sharp stone pillars broke out of the ground and struck quickly in all directions. Haiming's figure instantly left the place, several hundred meters away, staring at it coldly. Without the domain suppression of the giant rock dragon lizard, its agility of over 2,000 can be fully reflected. And the giant rock dragon lizard itself is a mutant beast with strong defense and strength, but low speed and very heavy weight. Coupled with the attack distance twice as long as his own provided by the cruel shadow, Haiming directly started the kite pull. This made the giant rock dragon lizard extremely furious. It kept stomping on the ground and roaring wildly. Roar! Roar! Don't hide if you have the ability, don't hide if you have the ability. Looking at this scene, Chen Lin laughed, not affected by the dark sea of fire at all, just like a fish returning to the water, only feeling warm and comfortable. This was not because Haiming had deliberately controlled it, but because the dark flames seemed not to hurt him at all. As if this is one's own power. After a full half hour, the giant rock dragon lizard could no longer stand on its limbs. It seemed that its life was about to be swallowed up, and there was fear in its eyes. It doesn't want to die yet, it still wants to evolve to the next level of life. Roar! Don't kill me, I am willing to surrender. Hearing this, Haiming showed no emotion at all, and in his vertical eyes there was only greed that wanted to devour the giant rock dragon lizard cleanly. Ouch! You still become the nourishment for my evolution, which is more valuable. The dark flames boiled, clinging to the giant rock dragon lizard's body and burning continuously. Haiming's eyes were cold, and his terrifying claws swung out to give it the final blow. Roar! No! Witnessing the approach of death, the giant rock dragon lizard roared unwillingly. After being torn apart by its sharp claws, it was no longer able to support its huge body and fell to the ground. The dark flames instantly burned more violently, as if they were silently cheering for its death. After a long time, the giant rock dragon lizard was eaten clean, with no bones left, leaving only dust on the ground. Haiming withdrew all the dark flames, and his body size shrank rapidly. A load instantly spread throughout his body, and he fell into a weak state. But its power remains undiminished, becoming more terrifying and frightening, like a monster. The three people watching from a distance were a little scared. Chen Lin silently called out the silver saucer, and immediately let it fly to his finger, turning into battle armor to cover his whole body. Although he was able to completely ignore the flames, his clothes were not so lucky and nothing was left burnt. In the sky, a new drone flew quickly at Yang Xiao's urging. When they saw the grass and trees withering, the mountains collapsing, and the doomsday scene on the ground, everyone in the command headquarters was shocked. Yang Xiao's eyes immediately locked on the standing black giant wolf. The giant rock dragon lizard that appeared not long ago has disappeared, and the result is obvious. How many more surprises does this guy want to give me? Yang Xiao took a breath and sounded amazed. Crossing two major transitions for the first time is already the limit of the human race since the era of job transition. The result was not enough, so he went through 3 more turns and killed the 3 rotten snakes. Now, he was able to kill a level 52 mutated beast with a trace of king level blood at level 16, an astonishing span of 4 great turns. This means that you don't even want to act anymore, so you just show off your cards and cheat, right? This monster should be thrown to the frontline battlefield as soon as possible, so that those foreign fools can drink from it. Yang Xiao scolded with a smile. But then he thought, the opportunity should come soon. At the same time, he was 100% sure at this moment where the alien race's target would be. It's time to set it up properly. This net for catching big fish needs to be strong. Thinking of this, Yang Xiao sneered at the corner of his mouth. Tomorrow, post the screen recording of Chen Lin's battle to kill the 3-headed rotten snake to the school's common forum to let everyone know that I am out of the dragon in Daxia. Yes, Everyone looked excited. Only the female officer was a little confused. The current situation was not safe. Is this really a good idea? On the screen, Chin Kong and 3 other people came to Chen Lin's side. Yi Kexi looked in admiration and his eyes were shining. Junior Chen Lin, your summoned object is too terrifying. Wang Yao, Chin Kong nodded. Other schools are saying that I am taking care of you, but they never imagined that you are actually taking care of me. Wang Yao and I didn't contribute much this time, so you and Keishi should contribute. Hearing this, Wang Yao had no objection. He was paddling the whole time. Chen Lin shook his head. Just do what you said originally. Chin Kong was a little surprised. He didn't expect him to be so kind. But without any effort, he was embarrassed to take it. He scratched his head and said, you deserve it, Junior Chen Lin. You're welcome. In this way, the two pushed each other for more than 10 minutes. In the end, Chen Lin had no choice but to say, how about this? I want to continue hunting level 50 mutant beasts. How about you guys help me? After swallowing the giant rock dragon lizard and its life crystal, Heiming's size increased by 2 meters. The most important thing is that the evolution value was directly increased by 150 points, which is 10 times that of the level 40 mutant beast. In this case, as long as we kill 10 more, maybe we can evolve again. It's much faster than killing level 40 mutated beasts. Chin Kong's eyes lit up and he readily agreed. Originally, part of the reason why they took the risk to take on the 5th level mission was to put more effort into ending the crisis of the mutated beast rebellion. After hearing that Chen Lin still wanted to hunt, it was naturally impossible to refuse. As for the need to go back and accept the mission in order to receive the reward, forget it. Anyway, the 1000 contribution points of a giant rock dragon lizard is already a big harvest. Therefore, even if they have to accompany Chen Lin to fight for a whole day, they are willing. Seeing this scene, Chen Lin laughed. Although the two of them seemed very redundant when facing the giant rock dragon lizard, Yi Kexi's supporting role was still quite important. Next, the 3 of them began to clean up the level 50 to level 54 mutant beasts around them. It is worth mentioning that Chin Kong finally looked like the number 1 person in Skylark Academy. He rushed to kill dozens of level 51 mutated beasts with swords, and finally escaped unharmed, very elegantly. It's just that the damage is a bit low, not much different from tickling. Wang Yao used all his strength to use his ultimate move, inflicting high damage with 1 strike of his axe. It was comparable to the power of Heiming's ordinary claw, and was just as brave. Chen Lin was amazed when he saw it. Heiming, who had not rested for long, took action immediately. Until late at night, the 2 of them lay on the ground panting, exhausted. Chin Kong smiled bitterly and said, today I have lost all my face in front of my juniors. After hearing this, Wang Yao buried his head in the soil silently, not wanting to see anyone anymore. The blow he struck was as majestic as a giant wielding an axe to open the sky, but it only caused minor injuries. My heart was directly hit hard. Yi Kexi stood aside and laughed. She and Chen Lin hid behind, so they were only weak in spirit and dizzy. Looking at the panel, Heiming's evolution value had been completed, and Chen Lin let out a long sigh of relief. Today's goal is accomplished, and in terms of size, after devouring 10 mutant beasts above level 50, Heiming grew to a height of 80 meters. The 4-dimensional attributes increased by 60 points, and the strength, physical agility, and agility all broke through the 400 mark. Now the normal state is a 100-meter giant beast, and after becoming giant, it becomes even more terrifying. Let's go, we should go back. The 3 of them nodded quickly when they heard this. If they continued to fight, their bodies would really be unable to support it. From 7 o'clock in the morning to now, the entire 20 hours have been spent either killing mutant beasts or looking for them. Who can bear it? The drone that had been following them in midair transmitted the footage of their return to the command center, and Yang Xiao suddenly breathed a sigh of relief. If they continued to fight, he would give the order to stop it. After all, in their current state, an accident could kill them all. It's incredible. In one day, they actually killed 11 mutant beasts above level 50. This speed cannot be matched by even those instructors. One person spoke. Everyone nodded in admiration. As for the shock, they have been completely numb from the beginning to now. There are only more than 1,000 mutant beasts above level 50 in the entire Balian Mountains. At this rate, it is expected to be cleared in more than a month. Hearing the female officer's words, Yang Xiao nodded with satisfaction on his face. Every time the mutant beasts riot, these level 50 mutant beasts are undoubtedly the most difficult to deal with. There are so many of them, and the individual strength is also very strong. Just one of them rushing into the city will cause great damage. As long as they are killed, the more powerful and intelligent giant beasts will not dare to attack casually. The hidden danger of mutated beasts rioting disappeared naturally. Thinking of this, Yang Xiao laughed. Now, our Hengshan base should be the fastest in the cleanup operation, right? The female officer hesitated for a moment and said, no, Luoxiang base is still in the lead. What's going on with them? How could they be so fast? Yang Xiao was stunned. I don't know. Compared with yesterday, the cleaning speed of Luoxiang base has increased a lot. On the other side, at this time, Luo Zhang's headquarters looked like it was almost early in the morning, but there were almost no bases for any students. The commander didn't know whether to laugh or cry. At this time, they were all still fighting fiercely with the mutated beasts in the mountains. Except for coming back to take over the mission, they did not stay for a moment at all. Originally, only the freshman students worked so hard, but as they contributed more and more points and were slowly approaching the top, the pressure on the sophomore students increased. If you are just a genius, there is no shame in being overtaken. But all the first-year students are obviously trying to catch up. In order to save face, they had to start working hard. The junior and senior students who saw this scene couldn't sit still. The final result was that people from all the schools joined in this involution storm. No one dared to take a break, fearing that they would be left behind by others in the time wasted. Under such circumstances, even the mentor was not spared. He felt that taking a break was a very shameful thing. Is it true that nothing will happen to them? The average rest time every day is less than 2 hours. Even for combat professionals, the body cannot bear it. Someone worried. The commander sighed. That can't stop them from pouring their blood. Fortunately, the schools located at the Luoxiang base are very strong. In particular, Bailong is recognized as the #1 university. In addition, he issued an order to dispatch a large number of soldiers and helicopter gunships to stand by outside the mountains, so that they could quickly support the students calling for help. Therefore, most of the injuries are severe and there are very few deaths. News just came from the 13 bases. Their situation is very bad. Even the range of the level 20 mutant beasts cannot be cleared. The most dangerous thing is that Wushan base said that the mutant beasts there have shown signs of gathering. This means that there are giant beasts that can't help but want to leave the mountains and attack the surrounding cities. Wuxi City, which is closest to Wushan base, is the first to bear the brunt. The strongest instructor there is only at level 4 and there is no way he can stop it. When the time comes, the consequences will be that mutant beasts will march in, and countless people will be reduced to food rations. The commander looked solemnly. After hearing this, everyone fell silent. News about the city's fall gradually came to mind, and their hearts became gloomy. After looking at them, the commander said firmly, so, the faster we clean up, the faster we can allocate manpower to Wushan base for support and protect more people. At this time, in the mountains, a young man wearing black armor swung his sword wildly and attacked the level 39 heavy-scale lizard in front of him desperately. His eyes were bloodshot and almost bulged out, looking like a madman. Kill, 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 turn everything into contribution points for me. Xiao Yangshu kept muttering on his lips, and the black airflow that wrapped around his body gradually became almost solid. Every time he slashed at the heavy-scaled lizard, he ignored the defense and made it roar violently. It took more than 10 minutes to completely grind it to death. Xiao Yangshu continued walking towards the depths without stopping for a second. Level 40. Level 40. I can definitely do it. Suddenly, he turned his head and looked to one side, where a mutant beast over 30 meters in size that looked like a cat demon was sneaking over. Seeing this scene, Xiao Yunzu's eyes suddenly flashed with murderous intent. As if being targeted by a pervert, the cat demon trembled. Sensing the extreme danger of this man, it turned around and ran away. You can't run away, Jia Jia Jia. Returning to the dormitory, it still looked familiar. Feng Yi asked, why did it take so long to come back this time? It's already morning. Chen Lin chuckled and sat down, picking up a skewer of barbecue. It's too deep, the journey is a bit long. Feng Yi nodded, and then asked curiously, Chen Lin, why your contribution points haven't changed today? Many people have squeezed you out. Team up with Senior Qin Kong, they get contribution points. I want the life crystal. I see. The three of them were stunned. Suddenly, Feng Yi was a little shocked. You won't be taking on a 5th level mission, right? After all, Chen Lin can complete the 4th level mission by himself, so there is no need to team up with others. Hearing this, Li Zongfeng and Cao Yang also reacted. They looked at Chen Lin and nodded, and their teeth suddenly felt a little sore. They can only do 2nd level tasks, but Chen Lin has already completed 5th level tasks. The same level of combat power as the instructor. They both entered Skylark Academy at the same time, so why is the gap so big now? The three of them felt lonely. After all, they are all the top 3 geniuses in each province, and Li Zongfeng's college entrance examination score is even higher than Chen Lin. But now it has only been less than 5 days, and in the blink of an eye, everyone has been thrown far away. Thinking of this, the three of them were a little distracted. Honestly, Chen Lin, why can your combat power increase so quickly, even if Heiming has a growth talent? Feng Yi smiled bitterly. Chen Lin smiled and said nothing, lest the 3 people who were attacked be too harsh. With greed and gluttony, as long as there are still things to eat, there will never be any hindrance to growth. Even in the future, improving strength will become extremely difficult. He can't stand still. After the 3 of them went back to their beds to rest, Chen Lin silently picked up the special machine and used his contribution points to apply for 10 2nd level life crystals. Compared with credits, the purchasing power of contribution points is higher. It is a trading system used on the frontline battlefield. Can be circulated throughout the human race. But there is only one way to obtain it, and that is to contribute to the human race. Cleaning up mutant beasts and solving hidden dangers in the rear is naturally considered. Soon, after Chen Lin completed the operation, the logistics department immediately reported it to the command room. Because the life crystal is a limited purchase resource, if a student applies for 10 yuan at a time, they cannot make the decision. Yang Xiao thought for a while and asked, how many life crystals are there in stock now? The female officer immediately replied, it was originally 520 yuan, but now it has been reduced by half, and it has been redeemed by many students. The number of these life crystals has been accumulated by Hengshan Base over the years by killing mutant beasts that want to come out of the mountains. Because most of the soldiers were living professionals and ordinary people, it would be useless to absorb them, so they were saved. Now it is used as one of the exchange resources to give all struggling students a choice. Give it to him. It will be the same if you continue to exchange it later. Yang Xiao nodded in approval. He has great potential, and through the 2 days of drone observation, his character is also very good. Moreover, Chen Lin himself is still focusing on the target, and already has the authority to tilt resources. As long as he needs something, the military will give it priority, and some precious treasures of heaven, materials and earth can also be directly exchanged. Yes, the female officer laughed. She was happy to hand over the life crystals killed by the soldiers at Hengshan Base to Chen Lin. After waiting for about 10 minutes, a soldier in combat uniform knocked on the door of the dormitory and handed a 1-meter white safe into Chen Lin's hands. Thank you, Chen Lin said politely. The soldier nodded, turned around and left, as if he had other things to be busy with. Seeing this, Chen Lin also went back inside. After thinking about it for a while, he entered his student ID number. Suddenly the safe shot out a scanning line, and then a voice sounded, student identity verification completed. With a click, the safe opened automatically, and what came into view were 10 neatly arranged life crystals about the size of a thumb. Chen Lin didn't hesitate, held it all in his hand, and silently chanted to absorb it. In an instant, all the life crystals exploded and turned into a red stream of shimmering fragments, slowly integrating into the body. Soon, his level rose rapidly and reached level 20. Life crystals can provide a lot of experience points, which is much faster than killing thousands of monsters in the dungeon. Looking at the prompt on the personal panel whether to transfer for the second time, Chen Lin clicked on it without thinking about sleeping. His figure immediately disappeared from the dormitory. When his vision returned again, Chen Lin found that he was already in a plane. The breeze caressed me gently, and a coolness blew in my face. A transparent frame appeared in front of his eyes. Coordinate number 00996. This is a world invaded by evil fallen races. They have enslaved everything and continue to multiply and grow here. Mission: kill the evil fallen. Number of people this time, 1. Time limit: 23.59.59. Reminder: you cannot actively return to Blue Star. After reading this, Chen Lin frowned slightly. He had seen evil information in the high school library. They were one of the alien civilizations that attacked the human race. These guys are not only invading Blue Star, but they also have the power to invade other worlds. How large is their population size? Thinking of this, Chen Lin took a deep breath and looked solemnly. He walked forward silently, and after a long time, he came to a cliff. When he saw the scene below clearly, Chen Lin's face was stunned. Next to a huge plantation, there is a dog with gray skin, more than 2 meters tall, with double horns on its head, like an upright human being. Their eyes were playful, staring at countless skinny humans with numb faces. He urged them to quickly pick up the bone spurs and feed them to the small trees that were all black and had blood-red flesh. People showed little resistance and raised the bone spurs helplessly, piercing through the other palm. The blood dripped little by little, staining the dark red soil extremely vividly. Chen Lin's fists were clenched unconsciously, and anger rose in his chest. This was the first time since he woke up from his memory that his emotions had fluctuated so much that he couldn't suppress it at all. A silver butterfly appeared slowly and landed on his shoulder. Under the flash of silver light, the armor covered his whole body. Boom! The soil exploded in an instant, and Chen Lin jumped directly from the 100-meter-high cliff. Tisk, tisk, the blood fruit will mature in a few days. If I eat it then, I will be able to break through the third ring of strength and join the expeditionary army. I really envy you, Bada. While the two villains were talking, a loud noise suddenly came from behind, like something heavy hitting the ground. They turned their heads in confusion and saw a silver afterimage quickly rushing out from the billowing smoke. In the blink of an eye, Chen Lin came to the two evil fallen, and swung his armor-covered fists with a white shock wave. Under Bada's horrified gaze, before he could stop him, he hit the front door directly. Click! The bones of his nose were shattered, leaving a deep punch mark on his face. His whole body flew backwards for dozens of meters like a cannonball, breaking many small black trees. Boom! Hitting the dark red soil, Bada felt his brain concussed, as if he had been hit by a boulder of more than 10 tons. If it hadn't been born with a strong physical body, its head might have exploded. When the companion next to him saw this scene, his expression suddenly changed. A spear of sticky black power appeared in his hand, and he immediately stabbed the silver figure that suddenly appeared. Chen Lin didn't dodge this blow, he directly grabbed the tip of the spear and it shattered instantly under the force. How can it be? Evil Fall's eyes revealed fear, and he instantly knew in his heart that he was powerless, and immediately turned around and called out to his fellow tribesmen. However, Chen Lin reacted faster and drew out his sword and slashed it directly, splitting its body in two. Gray blood spattered on the armor. Chen Lin's eyes were cold. At this time, all the villains finally reacted to the sudden movement, and a pair of terrifying eyes looked at them with anger. Chen Lin had no fear. The sword slowly transformed and turned into a powerful halberd more than 3 meters long. After swinging it in a circle, the terrifying weight made the air roar wildly. Dozens of evil fallen surrounded them. The leader, Ba Tai, stared at the silver-shaped guy and said in a deep voice, "Who are you? Why did you attack for no reason?" This is a special way of communication that can be understood by any race, similar to communicating with He Ming's thoughts. Although Chen Lin could understand, he didn't know how to respond, nor did he want to. "Humans, I don't need a reason to kill you beasts." Listening to this strange language, many villains were familiar with it. Ba Tai suddenly understood something and smiled with a smile on his face. "It turns out that you are just a dying ant. If you don't hide in the hole, why do you have the courage to come out?" Chen Lin's eyes became colder and colder, and he walked towards Evil Fall step by step, dragging the tip of his halberd on the ground. Boom! He suddenly turned into an afterimage, and at extremely fast speed, he appeared 3 meters in front of Ba Tai. Seeing the halberd light coming towards him, Ba Tai was a little frightened and immediately raised his condensed shield to block it. Boom! Its figure instantly flew out and smashed into the cliff wall. This scene immediately shocked all the villains. Kaka. After waves of gravel falling, Ba Tai broke free from the cliff and looked at Chen Lin with a solemn look. What a powerful force, and the speed is even faster than it. It is a three-ring evil degenerate. When did a being with such combat power appear among those rats? However, this is a plantation, and there are 80 villains guarding it. Thinking of this, Ba Tai laughed cruelly. Come together, tear him into pieces and feed him blood fruits. Roar! All the villains roared and stared at Chen Lin with ferocious gazes. Countless black powers emerged, and the air was suddenly filled with a disgusting aura, pressing towards Chen Lin. Chen Lin was not affected at all. His expression was calm, his body suddenly burst out and he rushed out, his halberd blasting through the air and sweeping away. The two nearest evil fallen were directly blasted off their heads by the halberd light under the overwhelming weight. At this time, spears penetrated through and pierced the armor, but they could not penetrate even a millimeter and did not break any defense. Seeing this scene, several evil fallen eyes were shocked and a little unbelievable. What greeted them was a halberd that shot through the air, killing them all in an instant. Chen Lin is like a humanoid ferocious beast, with a strength attribute increased to 220 points. He holds a weapon weighing 13 tons in his hand. He is terrifying and unstoppable. These evil degenerates who are less than level 30 cannot withstand his blow. Under the domineering power of the opening and closing, the evil body fell to the ground with a mutilated body, and gray blood spattered out and flowed all around. Ba Tai, who was originally relaxed, gradually began to panic. It used its black power to immediately form a chain and rush to entangle Chen Lin. Quick, control him together. As soon as he finished speaking, Ba Tai suddenly felt a huge force coming from the other end of the chain, and his body suddenly rushed forward uncontrollably. The terrifying halberd blasted from top to bottom. Ba Tai's face changed drastically, and he crazily activated his natural power. The surface of his skin quickly broke open and grew horny cells that looked extremely hard and glowing with black luster. Under this hard horn, the halberd did not directly cut it off, but smashed the ground with it with a bang. Chen Lin put away his halberd, took 2 steps, and stepped on the seriously injured Ba Tai's head. His eyes coldly scanned the remaining villains. All the evil degenerates suddenly became afraid and did not dare to step forward. Seeing his brother's tragic death, Bata finally got up from the shock with split eyes. It deeply remembered Chen Lin's appearance, suddenly turned around and ran towards the royal city. Noticing this scene, Chen Lin communicated with Silver Butterfly with his mind, and the battle halberd immediately turned into a battle spear. Aiming at Bata's figure, he tensed up his arm muscles and shot out with all his strength. The war gun penetrated through and exploded its head in an instant. The rest of the evil degenerates immediately roared, "He has no weapons, go!" Boom! With one punch, he blew the head of the charging evil fall off. Chen Lin began to fight directly with his body. Every punch brought a white shock wave, which was extremely heavy and terrifying. The figure suddenly rushed in front of an evil creature, raised its foot into the sky, and kicked its jaw open. At this time, there was a roar from the side. Chen Lin didn't even look at it. He swung his fist directly, hitting Xie Duo's chest and collapsing, and his body directly knocked away the Xie Dui who came from behind. With such fists and kicks used simultaneously, not long after the 80 evil ones were left, there were not many left, and they fled in terror. Chen Lin's eyes were cold and he had no intention of letting go. He chased after them and killed them all. Then, he walked to the battle gun, picked it up, and looked up at a huge eye formed by gray formations in the sky. This should be the remote observation method of the evil fallen alien race, and he should have been discovered long ago. Chen Lin took a deep breath, looked at his compatriots in the plantation, and fell silent. They have no reaction, like zombies, numbly impaling themselves to feed the fruit trees. An indescribable despair weighed on my heart. Seeing this scene, Chen Lin raised his hand to stop it, but couldn't open his mouth. He can't save anyone. Are you an immortal? Suddenly, a childish voice interrupted his thoughts. Chen Lin suddenly looked back and saw a girl with dirty hair standing next to him. She ran down the cliff. She fell several times because she was too anxious. Her clothes were torn and many scars were exposed. Seeing Chen Lin staring at her blankly, the girl was a little nervous. She clutched her clothes and whispered, "Can you help us?" Chen Lin was silent for a long time and then said, "Of course, there is no evil here now. You let others take these away." He pointed to the red fruits. The girl looked over and nodded vigorously, but was a little worried. "They will come back again, and it will be dangerous then." "Don't worry, no evil will happen today." Chen Lin smiled and touched the girl's dirty head. "Immortal, really?" Hearing this, the girl's face lit up. Seeing her running away happily, as if she wanted to tell everyone the good news, Chen Lin felt a surge of grief in his heart, and even his body was trembling. With eyes like this in the sky, how could evil fall not know their location? This is treating people as resources. Aliens. You all deserve to die. Chen Lin felt anger in his chest. With a slight movement of thought, Haiming suddenly came out, with a body of more than 100 meters entangled with a ferocious and terrifying power. There is no doubt that a large number of evil degenerates are already on their way. To be on the safe side, Chen Lin immediately clicked to confirm the evolution. Along with this action, the original power deep in Haiming's body shook violently, and waves of terrifying evolutionary power swept through his body. Then it even surged out of the body, turning into a black beam of light that rose into the sky, penetrated the clouds, and shattered the gray eyes. Boom boom. The heaven and earth seemed to be trembling, causing the fearful aura of all things to sweep across all directions, like a demon god coming to the world. Ouch! Haiming looked up to the sky and roared, and the terrifying and violent power spread throughout thousands of meters with the sound. The girl who had just left not far away lay on the ground in fear, holding her little head with trembling hands. She waited until the power dissipated for a long time before she dared to get up. She endured the weakness in her legs and continued running. She wanted to tell everyone the news that a silver fairy was coming to save them. Congratulations, your summon Haiming has acquired the skill, Fountain Surge. Congratulations, your summoned Black Underworld Giant talent has been promoted from B to A level. Congratulations, your summoned Dark King Kong Body talent has been promoted from B to A level. Congratulations, your summoned Black Flame talent has been upgraded to Tian Yan A. Congratulations, your summon Haiming has gained a new talent, Double Eyes of Death A. Power 412 Right Pointing Arrow 502. Physique 429 Right Pointing Arrow 519. Agility 418 Right Pointing Arrow 508. Magic 384 Right Pointing Arrow 474. With this evolution, Haiming directly grew 30 meters in length, reaching a height of 110 meters and a length of more than 200 meters. All attributes are increased by 90 points. Chen Lin's thoughts moved slightly. Gigantization A. Increase your size 5 times, and increase your strength, defense, and speed by 500%. Vajra Body A. The body acquires immune properties, which can reduce damage from elements and poisons. When activated, the power of Vajra is attached to the whole body and cannot be shaken. Tian Yan A. You can combine your own 3 powers to create your own special realm. Double Eyes of Death A. Within sight, activate to give the target the definition of death, killing everything. All talents have been greatly strengthened, and the strength has directly increased a lot. The most powerful thing is that the flame has been promoted to Tianyan. After fusing the 3 powers, it can form a domain. And it is its own special field. Chen Lin had seen how strong the giant rock dragon lizard's gravity field was. He could directly suppress Haiming. Luo Ning's gray field was also very strange. And the field formed by integrating the 3 innate powers will definitely not be weak. As for the Double Eye of Death, it has never been used, and the specifics are not clear. But A-level talents can never be weak. Chen Lin took a deep breath and looked forward. The next step was to destroy all the evil ones that came over. Let's go, we need to keep the battlefield away from here. After taking a look at the numb people behind him, Chen Lin said silently in his heart. I will make them pay with blood. He turned around and walked a few kilometers with Haiming. There was no communication with him along the way. Haiming could sense that his master was in a bad mood and followed him silently. About 10 minutes later, dots of patterns suddenly appeared in the sky, slowly forming a huge gray eye that looked directly at the person and beast below. Immediately after, On the horizon, a dense mass of 3 or 4 meters high evil fallen rushed towards them fiercely. Their number was estimated to be at least several thousand. The top 10 are as high as level 55. Such level 20 level up dungeon difficulty has never appeared in the human race. The war spear deformed and turned into a war halberd. Chen Lin held it tightly and said coldly, "Kill these evil degenerates without leaving any survivors alive." "I obey my lord's orders." Haiming responded with his thoughts, and his body grew rapidly, quickly transforming into a terrifying black giant beast with a shoulder height of 550 meters and a length of over 1,000 meters. Black flames exploded from the whole body, and the deep blue vertical eyes had turned into gray double pupils, filled with a terrifying aura of death that made living things palpitate. Ouch! The ferocious roar resounded for more than 10 kilometers, and under the terrifying power, all the evil degenerates came to a standstill. Under intimidation, except for 10 high-level 5-ring evil falls. All the other villains felt deep fear from the outside to the inside, and their whole bodies were trembling. This giant beast is very strong. It is definitely not a creature of this world. Then this person should not be a rat in our captivity. He comes from another world. The 10 5-ring evil fallen conversed solemnly, looking intently at the black giant beast in front of them. The terrifying flames burning all over their bodies made them feel extremely dangerous. Even though they are several kilometers apart, the scorching heat remains unabated. With a body of over 1,000 meters, Haiming's slow step was a span of several hundred meters, immediately making the 5 rings evil fallen instantly alert. Swiftness, increased speed, spring, absorbing energy floating between heaven and earth to quickly restore magic power, use both at the same time. Boom! Haiming suddenly exerted force, the ground within a few hundred meters immediately collapsed, and countless rubble exploded. Its figure instantly appeared in front of the 10 5-ring evil fallen, staring at them coldly with its heavy gray eyes, and raised its huge claws to strike at them. A large shadow fell, and the 5 rings evil degenerates shot out one after another to avoid the attack. However, other evil degenerates on the ground were not so lucky. They were all turned into meat paste under the terrifying giant claws and were instantly swallowed up by the dark flames. Seeing this scene, the leader Lealis immediately said, "Ignore this monster and kill that human." Chapter 61. Seeing all the evil degenerates passing by, Haiming's eyes were cold and cold. His forehand dropped hundreds of meters and the ground cracked. The tremors spread in all directions with a terrifying force. The jet-black flames roaring all over his body exploded thousands of meters away, swallowing everything inside. Roar! Countless villains were instantly frightened. Not only did they feel the scorching pain, their lives were also quickly deprived of their lives, and they wailed all over the place. In just a few seconds, the weak villain was reduced to ashes. What kind of ghost power is this? It can directly burn the source of my life. Why is it so weird? Lealis was a little shocked. This is completely different from injury. The source of life represents lifespan. Once lost, it cannot be restored unless it is compensated for by using heaven, material and earth treasures. Act quickly. If you delay it any longer, even if we can win, we won't have much time to live. The 9 5-ring evil fallen nodded and immediately formed various weapons, all activating their innate power to use their strongest killing moves. However, when it hit Haiming, a golden light emerged, exuding an unshakable meaning. Block them all. How come its defense is so strong? Lealis gritted his teeth. At this time, the giant palm suddenly struck, as if the entire mountain range was pressing down, with a roaring and exploding sound. Looking at this scene, black bone wings instantly broke out from Lealis's back, like sharp arrows shooting out, and they flew decisively towards the distance. However, its mind was suddenly filled with endless fear, and a pair of ruthless heavy eyes that exuded an aura of terror and contained the meaning of death in their depths appeared and stared at it. Lealis's figure instantly stopped at this moment. With the blessing of death's double eyes, the deterrence seems to be strengthened and has new effects. The giant palm fell hard, Lealis could not move at all, and cold sweat broke out from his forehead. This is a form of forced control. It has no means of mental resistance and cannot break away at all. Boom! The earth collapsed instantly, like an earth dragon turning over, smoke and dust billowing. The sound was shocking. Looking at the giant black wolf that was like a natural disaster, the 9 evil fallen swallowed their saliva, and they all saw fear in each other's eyes. This behemoth is too terrifying, just like a monster, we can't deal with it at all. Run. Run away. Hearing this, the other 8 evil fallen immediately nodded, and all broke out their black bone wings and flew towards the royal city. No one wants to be last. Haiming completely devoured the Lealis under his palm, raised his heavy eyes and looked at them coldly like flies, fixed on one at random, and then came behind it in an instant, with black light emerging from his sharp claws and tearing it apart. Seeing this scene, the remaining 8 5-ringed evil fallen souls emerged, wishing they could have another pair of bone wings. Run separately. They scattered instantly, each flying in one direction. Haiming randomly picked the evil ones, chased them and stopped them again, tearing them apart with his sharp claws. Immediately afterwards, a look of death emerged from his heavy eyes that made evil fall's hair stand on end. The terrifying intention of death directly turns the entire body of an evil fall into a gray area, like a millstone, instantly wiping out its life and causing it to fall to the ground. Haiming followed suit and continued to use the heavy eyes of death. However, after 2 times, a stinging pain instantly came from both eyes. Blood stained the eyes and flowed down, and a bit of death was also rising in it. If you still want to use it forcefully, wait until the death intention slowly accumulates to a certain level and explodes. It would probably be unable to withstand the backlash and be directly obliterated by the will of death. Thinking of this, Haiming gave up the urge, crushed the ground beneath his feet with a bang, turned into an afterimage and chased after him, and began to slowly hunt. At the same time, hundreds of villains coming from the left and right directions immediately roared and killed Chen Lin after seeing the dark sea of fire dissipate. Chen Lin was emotionless, and his figure rushed out instantly, his halberd sweeping away in all directions. Only evil fell under the domineering halberd's light, and his flesh and blood exploded, losing his life. The ground was soon filled with vague corpses, mixed with various body parts. After a long time, the only figure still standing on the plain was Chen Lin. The surrounding area was filled with gray blood and corpses for 100 meters, and the smell of blood rose into the sky, a scene from hell. In the plantation on the other side, when dozens of people came here, they were all shocked by the evil corpses everywhere in front of them. The girl looked around for a long time, but did not find the silver figure there, and immediately ran towards the outside of the plantation. When the man in the lead saw this, he immediately ordered, "Take everyone back to the base, take the blood fruit, and destroy this place." After he finished speaking, he followed the girl. For a full hour, after arriving at the plain of mountains of corpses and sea of blood, the man looked shocked. Countless villains died tragically, the flesh and blood were mixed together, and the smell of blood apes was strong. Standing here felt like being in hell. And further away, thousands of meters of land collapsed and shattered, and the weeds disappeared. What caused this? Just from this scene, he could imagine how terrifying the battle must have been. Could it be that a powerful human race has really arrived? However, Chen Lin had already left at this time, and there was no one around him. Dozens of kilometers away, standing on top of Haiming's head, Chen Lin looked down at the end of the plain and moved forward at high speed in the direction in which evil fall came. He wants to find where the evil ones live and kill them all. Feeling the death intention wrapped around Haiming's body, Chen Lin communicated with his mind. "Are you okay? Nothing will go wrong anytime soon, my lord." Upon hearing the response, Chen Lin nodded and continued to look ahead. This time he swallowed thousands of evil spirits, and Haiming's size once again grew by 5 meters. The energy required for growth is significantly higher. The evolution value only increased by 100 points, which was still far from the 5,000 required for perfection. It is nearly 10 times more difficult than before evolution. It seems that it is a huge threshold for all talents to enter the S-level category. It may not be possible to evolve without spending more than 10 days of effort. As his thoughts dispersed, a huge city slowly became clear in his sight. Chen Lin narrowed his eyes slightly and his gaze became sharp. On the majestic giant city hundreds of meters high, countless evil fallen have already retreated, leaving only one evil falling at level 59, whose strength is close to the 6th ring, waiting alone. Through the eyes of observation, he knew that the human sea tactic was useless, so naturally they would not come here to die in vain. Liat's eyes were cold. Behind his 6-meter-tall body, a pair of terrifying black bone wings spread out, and a pressure was wrapped around his body. The black power of corruption turned into substantial airflow, darkening the surrounding environment, making it impossible for any light to penetrate. Across a distance of more than 10 kilometers, it looked at Chen Lin silently. This disgusting aura can be felt even from this far away. Chen Lin's voice was cold. He jumped off Haiming's head, slammed into the ground, and then rushed towards the giant city like a sharp sword. Haiming, you deal with it, and I'll kill the other evil ones. Follow my master's command. After responding, Haiming's size instantly grew to 1,000 meters, and jet black flames exploded, like a black natural disaster beast, and its ferocious power suddenly swept in all directions. Boom! The 1,000-meter plane collapsed, and Haiming instantly shot away and appeared in front of the giant city. Looking at this giant black wolf that was 100 times larger than itself, the shadows shrouded the entire surrounding area of Lights, and there was no wave on its face. The sharp claws suddenly appeared in black light and blasted away the air like thunder and lightning falling instantly. At the moment of contact, a corner of the stone city wall, which was as hard as steel, exploded and was as brittle as paper. However, when it was about to fall on Lights, it was directly blocked by a barrier formed by the black materialized air flow and could not be broken. A mere giant beast whose life level is not even king level doesn't think it can change the world just by killing a few ants, right? Lights spoke calmly, flicked his fingers slightly, and the black barrier instantly expanded and exploded, directly knocking Haimai back several hundred meters. Immediately afterwards, the black power surged, turning into a huge magic knife hundreds of meters long in the blink of an eye, exuding a terrifying aura of corruption, turning all the weeds for 1,000 meters around it into gray. Lights slowly stretched out his hand to hold the magic knife. Circles of dark air continued to rise, and the power instantly rose to the extreme. It was extremely terrifying. I, the son of the demon king of the evil fallen true clan, am not one of those losers. Meet well, your death. Lights swung down violently, and the magic knife of hundreds of meters struck Haiming in an instant. Golden light emerged, but it didn't last for a few seconds before it was overwhelmed and revealed cracks. The unshakable meaning was eroded by the aura of corruption and was about to be broken. Haiming roared and grabbed the magic knife with both palms, and the golden light also shattered. Directly rely on the powerful physical body with over 2,500 physical attributes to block it. Boom! The surrounding ground instantly collapsed for dozens of meters, and a huge bottomless crack was cut in front of it by the magic knife. Countless dark gold blood flowed from his head and palms. One blow directly caused considerable damage to Haiming. Lights' face was indifferent. Yes, if you can survive my attack, you are qualified to be my mount. I know that you have a contract with that human and you cannot hurt him. Now, I can give you a chance to forgive you for killing thousands of my people. As long as I go to kill that human, you don't want to stop me, how about that? Hearing this, Haiming's eyes suddenly became filled with unprecedented anger, and he looked at Lights fiercely. Ouch! You are here, seeking death. A ferocious roar shook the world, and the black flames all over his body exploded, expanding to several thousand meters in the blink of an eye, enveloping everything inside and burning. An extremely terrifying, vicious shadow that spanned more than 2,000 meters slowly condensed. This time, the vicious shadow is almost turning into reality, and the aura it emits makes everything tremble, making it even more terrifying. Feeling the power that could swallow everything, Lights' eyes gradually became serious. Its life source is being deprived. Lights quickly formed a barrier to isolate the dark flames. Ouch! You just blocked my ordinary blow. Do you think you are strong? Now, come again. Haiming's voice was heavy and vibrated in circles, and he looked at Lights coldly with his heavy eyes. It doesn't even need to move, its sharp claws are raised and swung down instantly. On his body, the vicious shadow moves in the same way. Seeing this scene, Lights' expression changed slightly, and he used all his strength to use the power of corruption to consolidate the barrier. However, it still couldn't stop the terrifying black fire claws of the murderous shadow. In just a few seconds, cracks appeared in the barrier, and then continued to spread and deepen. It shattered with a loud bang, and Lights was struck hard and smashed into the earth. Ouch! Is that it? Black Ming looked down, but did not attack, waiting quietly for it to get up. Lights' face was a bit ugly. He slowly stood up from the ground and felt that his life source had been deprived again. He said fiercely, Beast, I will make your life worse than death. A terrifying force burst out from its body. But then, after only expanding for less than 10 meters, it could no longer move forward, which made Lyot stunned. What happened? Why can't its territory be expanded? Suppressed. Before it could react, the vicious shadow's sharp claws swung out again. Boom. The hit ryots instantly smashed into the hard and thick city wall and flew backwards several hundred meters. Ouch. Rubbish. Understanding what this meant, Lyots could no longer control the anger in his heart, let out a roar, and rose into the sky. Even without the blessing of the fallen domain, I can still kill you. As the words fell, Lyot's body suddenly grew to dozens of meters in size, with dots of black lines all over his skin. The black bone wings on the back opened wide and stretched for hundreds of meters. A long black spear slowly condensed into his hand. The black air flow exploded wildly in circles and dispersed in all directions, and the breath was extremely frightening. Talent, the fallen devil's shadow. Suffer death. Lyots roared angrily, and his figure disappeared instantly, and with a bang, jet black flames rushed out. The sharp black spear penetrated. Under this blow, Hyming's reaction and speed were faster. Relying on the attack distance bonus of the ferocious phantom, he swatted it down like a fly. It hit the ground and opened a big pit. Standing up with difficulty, Lyotis gritted his teeth and his eyes were full of anger. He has been a fallen nobleman since he was born, and he has never suffered such great humiliation. Ba Jin, what are you waiting for? Open the falling heaven blocking formation for me. The sound was transmitted to the distant rear through the gray eyes hanging in the sky. In an instant, the black sky covered the entire giant city like an inverted bowl, and shackles dozens of meters wide wrapped around the power of corruption instantly came out of the void and bound Hyming in circles. Countless black air currents erode the whole body along the shackles, as if they want to assimilate it. With the full force of tens of thousands of evil fallen, even if your strength reaches the 6th level, you will be assimilated and turned into a puppet that can only obey. Ryots laughed wildly. I will definitely torture you when the time comes. Hyming's 2 pairs of gray eyes were indifferent, and with a ferocious roar, Tian Yan merged the 3 powers of greed, gluttony, gigantism, and double eyes of death. Boom! The jet black flames instantly rioted, directly expanding for a kilometer, and the terrifying intention of death circulated throughout the entire area. At this moment, as long as they are in the dark sea of fire, all living things will be defined as death, even the eternal gods can fall. At the same time, the ferocious shadow on Hyming's body was completely condensed into substance, and his breath vibrated thousands of meters, terrifying and violent. 2 pairs of heavy gray eyes appear in the huge eyes, which contain terrifying death intention. They can kill the target with one glance. Within the realm, power is manifested. At this time, it is like the master of this world. Hell of hell. After the 3 talents are combined, the realm formed as extremely terrifying. Lyot's smile froze, and his eyes gradually turned into fear. Living in the heaven-refining death domain, not only is life constantly being devoured and transformed by the pitch-black flames, but it is also slowly being wiped out by the will of death. It can be seen from its slow and weak breath. Beast, let's see whether you consume me to death first or I assimilate you first. Lyot's face showed madness, and all the power of corruption poured out and merged into the shackles. The erosion power suddenly increased to a higher level. Countless powers of corruption cover Hyming's body, completely polluting his body and soul. Hyming roared up to the sky, and his incomparable determination made the terrifying power of corruption slow and difficult to move. Since its birth, it has been abandoned by the wolves in the cruel forest because of its mutation, its small size, and its lack of value. Hungry and cold, it almost lost its temperature as it huddled in the crevices of the rocks. It was Chen Lin's call that saved it and gave it a new meaning of existence. From that moment on, Hyming decided to stay with him forever and never leave. Therefore, what made him fight for Chen Lin was never a contract or a soul connection. The meaning of its existence itself is to fight for Chen Lin. The ferocious phantom also roared, and without Hyming's command, the 2 entangled black and gray powers directly shattered the shackles. The giant claw swung down instantly, tearing apart the shackles that bound Hyming. Seeing this scene, Lyot sneered, and then more shackles appeared and penetrated. It's useless. Even if you have the strength of 6 rings at this moment, you can't break free. The ferocious shadow slowly looked at it, its gray eyes were indifferent and ruthless, and the terrifying death intention contained in the depths exploded. Lights instantly felt an extreme danger coming from him, and his whole body suddenly turned gray. Under the terrifying force, most of its life was wiped out in just a few seconds, and it was on the verge of death. At this time, a black force burst out from Liatus' body, exuding an aura that could corrupt all things, directly crushing the will of death. Liatus looked ugly, and the protective power his father had left for him was gone. This made it dare not stay any longer, turned around and flew away. If it stays any longer, it will really be worn to death by these dark flames and the deathly will that permeates the realm. However, on the other side, Chen Lin's figure had already arrived at the huge palace square behind the huge city, and the war gun was suddenly thrown out hundreds of meters away. Silver light penetrated the air, rushing towards the tens of thousands of evil beings in a black mass. Seeing this scene, Ba Jin stood up instantly, a black sword condensed in his hand to block the war spear. Under the strong impact, it could not help but be knocked back several meters. At this moment, Chen Lin was approaching, and his silver fist struck the end of the war spear. It penetrated instantly and pierced the heart of this level 35 evil fallen, and the gray blood exploded. Chen Lin's eyes were calm, and his war spear deformed, turning into a war halberd and sweeping in all directions. Under the light of the halberd, several evil ones at close range exploded, with flesh and blood flying everywhere. This terrifying scene shocked countless evil degenerates who immediately did not dare to continue to maintain their degenerate power towards the formation and quickly retreated. This caused Hyming to instantly break all the shackles, and the dark sky shattered and disappeared. Chen Lin did not retreat but advanced, cracking the floor tiles with a loud bang, and fell into the eyes of countless villains. The silver figure shines brightly under the bright light that shines again, and it is extremely obvious under the dark group. The halberd light was domineering and fierce, blasting everything. Chen Lin's momentum was unparalleled, and he killed dozens of villains in a short period of time. Roar! Along with a roar, countless black thorns penetrated from the side. Chen Lin let the black thorns fall without even looking at them. The hard armor could not break through the defense and blocked them all. Human, if our elites hadn't gone on an expedition, you would have been crushed to death like an ant if you weren't here. The 4-meter evil villain glared angrily, his muscles suddenly expanded, and he rushed straight away. Chen Lin's expression was ruthless, and his halberd broke through the air, instantly slashing it to the ground and breaking into countless cracks. The cutting blade pierced the flesh and blood, and he swung it directly towards countless villains. Boom! Chen Lin's voice was cold as he looked at all the evil deeds smashing out of the straight passage. Give me a year and I can kill all of you evil aliens. What's the problem? The 4-meter evil beast obviously understood human language, and its expression suddenly turned ugly, and it shouted, "Assimilate him together." Roar! All the evil degenerates roared immediately, each erupted with the power of depravity, and a thick black air flow suddenly filled the surroundings. It turned into long shackles and rushed towards Chen Lin. Chen Lin reacted very quickly. The floor tiles exploded and left the place instantly. The shackles fell down the next second and pierced through the place. His eyes were calm, his halberd swept across the harvest, only to fall viciously, dodging all the shackles. As countless villains died, the flesh and mutilated corpses stained a large area red, and the blood ape spread rapidly. The silver armor has long turned gray, and Chen Lin's whole body is filled with the aura of killing, as if he is the monster. However, as time went on, more and more shackles were added, gradually forcing him into a dead corner and blocking all escape directions. As one shackle finally wrapped around Chen Lin, dozens of other shackles instantly swarmed in, trapping his limbs and body in circles. Seeing this, all the villains suddenly became happy and showed cruel smiles. Hurry up and assimilate him. Countless powers of corruption surged along the shackles, but Chen Lin didn't feel it at all, as if they all fell on Silver Butterfly. In his mind, the mournful cry of the Silver Butterfly appeared. This made Chen Lin's face darken and become serious. Feel its voice weakening and the erosion getting worse. Chen Lin immediately wanted to take back the Silver Butterfly, but when he resisted, a ferocious roar came from very far away. A huge corpse dozens of meters high crashed through countless buildings and instantly hit a large area of evil. The terrifying impact directly crushed them into blurry flesh. Ouch! The huge black wolf was unstoppable, its speed was terrifying, and its size of 1,000 meters smashed into all the buildings in the blink of an eye. It appeared in the palace square amid the flying rubble. The whole palace shook with the loud explosion. It exudes violent power that makes all evil degenerates tremble with fear, and their livers and gallbladders burst into tears. Looking at the corpse that was dozens of meters away, they all swallowed their saliva and couldn't believe it. How is it possible that Lord Riots is dead? A villain spoke. Suddenly fear spread among them. Haiming found that his master was entangled with countless shackles, and his eyes instantly showed anger, looking at all the evil deeds. Under intimidation, none of them can escape. The dark flames exploded in an instant, engulfing them and burning them up. All the shackles were broken under the sharp claws. Chen Lin breathed a sigh of relief. He communicated with the silver butterfly with his mind and got the response that it was fine. Then he looked at Haiming, who was wrapped around his body with the intention of dying, and frowned. Next, we can't let it use the double eye of death, otherwise the backlash will not be what Haiming can bear now. Feeling Chen Lin's worry, Haiming tried to comfort him. It should be okay to use it twice more, master. Chen Lin touched it helplessly. What if? Then he asked, is there a way to solve this death wish? When time passes, it will dissipate automatically. Hearing this, Chen Lin nodded and began to plunder all the palaces to ensure that no one was left unscathed. It covers an area of several thousand meters and contains many buildings with unique styles, all made of materials he has never seen before. After searching for an hour, Chen Lin couldn't find any useful treasures. It seemed that they had all been used. Arriving at the palace at the end, the jade light gate is more than 10 meters wide and dozens of meters high. Chen Lin put his hands on it and exerted force suddenly. The door suddenly roared and was pushed inwards. After it was enough for one person to enter and exit, Chen Lin stopped and walked in. Haiming is so big that even if he is not giant-sized, it is impossible to squeeze in. However, once Chen Lin is in danger, it will destroy the entire palace without hesitation. It is very spacious inside, with huge pillars standing tall, and a huge array pattern carved on the ground in the center, revealing an extremely mysterious meaning. To put it simply, Chen Lin couldn't understand it at all. Suddenly, his eyes suddenly looked to the side, where there was an evil figure wearing a sacrificial robe, hiding behind a giant pillar. Its whole body was trembling, and its face looked extremely frightened. Chen Lin dragged his halberd up and walked up. The harsh sound made the priest tremble with fear and tremble even more. Seeing that the silver figure was really coming straight towards him, the evil priest fell to the ground. You, don't kill me. Chen Lin had no expression on his face. You wantonly invaded all worlds and massacred humans like us. Are you afraid now? Seeing the halberd raised, the evil priest quickly begged for mercy in human language. I didn't. I was born here. I have never been to other worlds, let alone killed humans. Chen Lin used his probing technique to look at level 30 above its head with a fierce gaze, and stepped on its head to the ground. Your people not only killed countless humans, but also kept them in captivity and used their blood to cultivate heavenly materials and earthly treasures. With your level, do you dare to say that you have never eaten those fruits? Perhaps you have never killed anyone here, but you suck their blood every day. Feeling the pressure on his head getting stronger and stronger, Sacrifice Evil fell with a look of fear on his face. Those blood fruits are unique to this world. They can grow as long as they absorb blood, and eating them can immediately increase their combat power. It did eat a lot, but it didn't think it was wrong. The weak should have been enslaved, invaded other worlds, and strengthened their racial heritage in order to survive. This is what it has been taught since birth. If you make such a big noise, other royal cities must know about it. They will immediately send a cross-border message to let the strong men of our clan come back. You will definitely die by then. But I can help you activate the world teleportation array and leave. The priest said very quickly, fearing that his head would be crushed by Chen Lin in the next second. Hearing this, Chen Lin's eyes lit up. He might be able to save that girl and others. Thinking of this, Chen Lin's halberd struck directly at the side of the priest, and the floor exploded. This immediately frightened it. How many people can this world teleportation array carry? 1,000 people is no problem. The priest Evil Fall immediately understood that he also wanted to take away the others. But it didn't dare to lie at all and answered truthfully. Chen Lin breathed a sigh of relief, raised his foot, and patted it with his halberd. Get up and follow me. The sacrificial priest hurriedly followed the instructions, not daring to play any tricks. After all, the gray eyes of the sky have always been controlled by it, and they knew very well how terrifying Chen Lin and the monster outside were. After going out, Chen Lin grabbed it with one hand, sat on Haiming's back, and communicated his purpose with it. Haiming nodded, glanced at the priest and said, "If you dare to touch me, I will kill you directly." When beasts are powerful, they will naturally know the common language of all heavens. This is the inheritance in the blood. After the evil priest heard this, he immediately retracted his hands and feet and tried his best to lift his body up. Then he said carefully, "If you want to pick up someone, you can use the sky castle. That one is big enough and fast. Guide the way." A few minutes later, when he arrived in front of a 1,000-meter castle, Haiming jumped up. The whole castle suddenly shook violently, but soon countless gray lines appeared and stabilized. The evil priest hurriedly asked Chen Lin to throw him down, not daring to touch a bit of Haiming. When Chen Lin heard this, of course he showed no mercy and smashed it into the castle ground with great force. Anyway, the fallen life is not fragile. The evil priest stood up with difficulty, without any complaint at all, and immediately operated the air castle to fly at the fastest speed. 2 hours later, the sky castle arrived above the plantation. Chen Lin jumped down and made a small crater a few meters away. He looked around, as if there was no one around. At this time, a dirty girl's figure came out, her hands and feet were trembling a little. "Immortal. Immortal. She has been waiting here, wanting to wait until Chen Lin comes back." Looking at the castle in the sky, the girl looked extremely frightened. "That is the evil weapon, Immortal. Are we in danger?" "Don't worry." Seeing the fear of him in her eyes, Chen Lin knew that it was probably a misunderstanding, so he walked over and touched her. "The evil one has been killed." The girl felt relieved, with a curious expression on her face. "Immortal, can I go up and have a look?" "Certainly." Chen Lin communicated with Haiming with his mind. After the castle came down, he thought for a while and said, "Close your eyes first." "Okay." The girl nodded obediently. Chen Lin took off his armor, gently picked her up and climbed into the castle. The sacrificial evil fallen came forward immediately and was about to ask if it wanted to go to these people's base. It knew the location. However, Chen Lin gave it a cold look and said, "Get away, don't show up." He had promised the girl that there would be no evil deeds today. The evil priest immediately shut up after hearing this, silently entered the castle, and went to operate the flight. After a long time, they landed on a flat hill, and Chen Lin led the girl down. The two of them followed a passage hidden by weeds to the ground. It is supported by simple wood, and the only means of lighting is torches. There are hundreds of people crowded here. When the man saw the figure holding the girl's hand, he immediately walked over and said, "Xiaoyu, who is this?" "Immortal. He is the one who killed all the evil ones." As soon as these words came out, everyone around him looked shocked, and looked at Chen Lin with respect. He was actually the one who killed all the evil ones. Everyone looked at him, seeing that this was completely different from the three-headed and six-armed image they imagined. The fair and handsome face has a gentleness that makes people feel like spring breeze. The most important thing is that he looks very young, only 18 or 19 years old. "Are you really an immortal?" Hearing these words from a person, the man who called the girl Xiaoyu shook his head. He knew better and knew that Chen Lin was not an immortal, but a strong human being from other worlds. Zhou Yuan said cautiously, "Sir, do you have any instructions for coming here?" He was certain that Chen Lin was not from this world. There used to be many powerful men here who could overwhelm mountains and seas, but after the evil invasion, most people found that the opponent's race was so huge that it was impossible to defeat them, so they chose to escape. These people will not come back to take care of them. "Take you away." Chen Lin briefly explained what happened. Zhou Yuan swallowed his saliva when he heard this. Really, really. In fact, most of them understand that the reason why they can survive is that they need to use their lives to cultivate heavenly materials and earthly treasures. Just like a cat catching a mouse, slowly wait for them to get away and recuperate to restore their numbers, then attack and capture a group. But even if they knew, what could they do? "I can only keep hiding here and there, looking for a way to break this cage." Zhou Yuan was once a member of the resistance against evil. He deeply understood that those strong people did not care about the survival of the weak, otherwise they would not even resist and just leave everyone behind and leave this world. And Chen Lin was obviously a strong man in his eyes, able to travel across the heavens. Yeah, Chen Lin nodded and smiled. Looking at this scene, hope gradually rose in everyone's eyes. They are looking forward to a ray of light all the time in this dark underground. At the same time, this is also the support that keeps them from giving up even though they know they are already fish. Let's go, take everyone with us, and go to a safe world. Although Blue Star is also in danger, it is even greater than this, being besieged by a dozen alien races. But at least, there are countless people there who are not afraid of life and death on the frontline battlefield, resisting all threats and protecting the peace of the rear. I will go up there soon, and won't let the aliens take a step forward. A few hours later, the Sky Castle descended back into Palace Square and hundreds of people walked down. Even though Chen Lin said that all the evil ones would be killed, their expressions still showed fear. Chen Lin silently covered Xiaoyu's eyes before letting the sacrifice come out. When they saw it, everyone took a step back, their faces wary. Not paying attention to this move at all, Sacrifice Evil Fall quickly ran to Chen Lin's side to lead the way. Arriving at the palace at the very back, Heiming asked Heiming to open the door completely and let everyone rush in. When they stood on the teleportation formation in the center, the evil sacrifice was activated immediately. The process was very simple. After all, the teleportation array has been set up a long time ago and has stored energy for countless hours. It is only responsible for activating it. Now we just need to communicate about the teleportation formation and lock the coordinates and specific arrival location. After hearing this, Chen Lin closed his eyes and started operating. He couldn't trust the evil priest to complete these things, otherwise it would do something wrong and everyone would die. Set the coordinates to Blue Star and the specific location to Fanyan City. These are all locked by the teleportation array through memory and are accurate. The location is confirmed and the space channel is opened. Estimated time, 59.59. Boom. The entire palace trembled under the terrifying energy explosion, and small cracks were torn in the sky, and then slowly expanded. Such a big movement was instantly noticed by the gray eyes of the other kings in charge. That human race has activated the teleportation formation and wants to leave. A 5-meter-tall evil fall stood on the 100-meter city wall with an angry voice. This is a teleportation opportunity that they have spent countless resources and saved up for a long time before they can use it once. It was originally intended to be used to transport blood fruits to their fellow expedition members. We can't let him leave like this, otherwise the evil fallen Gen clan will lose face. Roar. The 5-meter evil beast roared, its bone wings spread out furiously, and it soared into the sky. Behind, countless villains followed closely, overwhelming the sky and the earth. In just a few dozen minutes, dozens of 4-ring and 5-ring demons gathered in several royal cities converged from all directions and were about to approach. Heiming, who was guarding outside the palace, noticed the aura, slowly stood up with his huge body, looked up to the sky, and communicated quickly with his thoughts. Master, many evil deeds have come. Chen Lin nodded, stood up, and walked outside. When Zhou Yuan saw this, he felt uneasy and couldn't help but said, "Sir, has something happened?" "Don't worry about it, just stay here and teleport away." Hearing this, the girl looked worried. "Sage, won't you leave with us?" Chen Lin looked back at her and smiled. "Do you still remember what the immortal said? There will be no evil deeds today." He stretched out his arm, and the silver butterfly appeared, slowly flying down on it. In the flash of silver light, the armor covered his whole body. When he went out of the palace and looked at the priest, Chen Lin said in a cold tone, "Let's go, I won't kill you." When the priest heard this, he was immediately delighted and ran away. However, a transparent magic sword instantly cut through its body from behind, and its spirit was shattered. "Giving you a painless death is my greatest kindness. The evil one has never let go of a human race, and he will never let go of an evil one." After closing the palace door tightly, Chen Lin dragged Zanji and Heiming to the square. At this time, only evil fall fell from the sky and stood on the building. "You don't want to leave?" Bakkum's dark eyes narrowed. Chen Lin looked at it with an indifferent expression. "I won't leave until I finish killing you all." There are still 5 hours left before the upgrade copy ends. Bochum laughed. You have such a loud voice, and you're not afraid to flash your tongue. It was not in a hurry to take action, and it and the other dozens of evil degenerates looked coldly at the people and beasts below. As time passed, the sky gradually became dark, filled with countless depraved powers, and turned into a faint shadow. Chen Lin noticed this immediately, but if we fight now, it will undoubtedly affect the teleportation formation, so we can only wait. 5 minutes passed silently, and the hundreds of meters of phantom formed entirely by the power of corruption completely condensed into reality. Its facial features were blurred and it was wearing a ferocious battle armor. The disgusting aura exploded instantly, and circles of black air rushed in all directions, which was absolutely terrifying. Even with the isolation of Silver Butterfly, Chen Lin could feel the threat. Suddenly, black rain fell on the armor. Chen Lin raised his head solemnly. The gray field spread from the shadow, covering thousands of meters in a short time. In his mind, Silver Butterfly immediately reminded him that it was being slowly eroded by this gray realm. A layer of golden light automatically appeared on He Ming's body, and it looked at the fallen shadow. GG, it's done. Bochum laughed cruelly. This fallen heaven throne in the visual clan, a fallen heaven phantom condensed with the power of tens of thousands of evil falls, has the strength of 6 rings. And it also has a trace of the power of the original deity. Even if that wolf has the same strength as the 6th ring, there is no way he can be his opponent. The terrifying atmosphere outside passed through the thick palace and pressed on everyone, and they all felt afraid. At this moment, the teleportation formation was activated, and the light protected them soaring into the sky and crashing into the huge crack channel. Seeing this scene, Chen Lin breathed a sigh of relief and could take action without any scruples. But Bakumu at the top didn't care at all about those people who were teleported away, as long as he could keep Chen Lin. If you choose to rush out from the beginning, with this wolf here, we really can't do anything to you. But you insisted on protecting those mice and left, giving up this opportunity. Then pay the price for your kindness. Chen Lin didn't respond. He took out the Tianquan sword and staff from the ring, and put the strengthening and recovery techniques on He Ming in advance. Ouch! With the roar, He Ming instantly transformed into a gigantic form. His 1,000-meter-long body was wrapped with ferocious power, and he was no weaker than the fallen phantom. Tian Yan combines the 3 talents of greed, gluttony, gigantism, and Vajra body, and a new realm called Refining Heaven and Suppressing Prison appears instantly. The exploding jet black flames carried a hint of golden light and contained a suppressive power, instantly suppressing the gray realm. The corrosive power that fell on Chen Lin immediately disappeared. Dozens of evil degenerates looked solemn and immediately flew back, not daring to stay in the black and gold realm. How is this possible? This field is different from the previous ones. Hiss, staying there, I feel that not only my original life has been deprived of my body, but my strength is also being suppressed. Retreating to the shadow of fallen sky, dozens of evil fallen took in a breath of cold air as they watched the gray realm being suppressed. At this time, the vicious shadow did not condense on He Ming's head. Instead, there were countless intertwined gold and black lines covering the surface of the flesh, exuding a mysterious light, majestic and domineering. Under the terrifying force of suppression, everything around him became extremely heavy. The black and golden power burst out, and the power was instantly like the gods and demons suppressing purgatory. Ouch! The roar resounded for tens of thousands of meters. With the blessing of the heaven-suppressing prison, He Ming's physical body became more powerful and his defense increased by half. The power has also changed. Every blow will bring suppressive power, heavy and terrifying. Seeing this, the gazes of the dozens of evil degenerates couldn't help but become more solemn. Without hesitation, they immediately injected their own depravity power into the fallen phantom. Boom boom. The fallen shadow suddenly extended 100 meters and became even larger. The 2 pairs of black bone wings behind it spread out for a full kilometer, and the aura was terrifying. The gray realm expanded instantly, constantly colliding with the heaven-suppressing prison, and they were incompatible with each other. Circles of gray and black and gold shock waves exploded, spreading in all directions. Chen Lin stood behind, finally like a summoner, obediently giving only buffs. No one can get involved in this battle, the level is too high. At the same time, countless worlds away, in a gray palace filled with the aura of terror and depravity. All the women with gray skin, either graceful or enchanting figures, with a pair of fallen wings on their backs, knelt on the ground to serve. Their foreheads were engraved with a black line of spreading bone wings. This means that they are all fallen creatures transformed from creatures of other races. He will only obey his master's will. On the throne made of bones, the humanoid creature wearing a ferocious gray armor suddenly opened its black eyes, and a terrifying aura instantly awakened, but it was withdrawn before it dispersed. Someone evil has used my power. It silently calmed down and searched for the past. Soon, following the connection in the dark, a trace of thought came to the fallen shadow. Suddenly, gray light shot out from the eyes of fallen sky shadow, and it was no longer an unconscious dead thing. Hey, this field is a bit interesting. Fallen Sky was slightly surprised. Then it looked at Chen Lin. Human race. This is the world behind our clan, right? How did he get here? Did he transfer to a dungeon? Fallen Sky thought for a moment and understood immediately. This is not something that is difficult to know. You can easily ask any clan member. The important thing is that he is only level 20. After feeling it for a while, it was even more shocking. This black wolf's lifespan is even less than half a scratch. That is to say, from its birth to now, it is not even half a year old, but it has the combat power of 6 rings. What a terrifying potential. Fallen Sky couldn't help but marvel. At this time, accompanied by a roar, Haiming instantly broke through the gray realm, ignoring the incoming corrosive power, and rushed towards it. Black light emerged from the domineering claws with suppressive power, and they were torn off hard, leaving 4 deep gashes. Fallen Sky frowned slightly, feeling that the shadow's extremely weak power was difficult to use. With a slight movement of thought, the power of corruption surged and turned into a black spear more than 500 meters long. Falling back to the sky instantly, he retreated 1,000 meters. After closing the distance, he wanted to soar into the sky. However, Haiming persisted, his speed was even faster, and he caught up instantly. The terrifying suppressive force caused the fallen shadow to sink and slow down a bit. Seizing this moment, Haiming jumped up high and tore away with both claws at the same time. Under the force of suppression, its figure crashed into the ground, collapsing into a 1,000-meter-long crater, making a shocking noise. Boom! Haiming rushed forward again in an instant, relying on the realm of refining heaven and suppressing prison to strengthen his body. He was physically terrifying and invincible in close combat. He didn't give fallen heaven any chance to distance himself. Squeezing it, the sharp claws tore it away crazily, and the power of death exploded from 2 pairs of gray eyes, destroying it crazily. Even if the fallen phantom is not life, the double eyes of death will give it the definition of death and treat everyone equally. 4 innate powers. Fallen Sky's eyes were solemn. Although there is a trace of consciousness, death will have no impact. But this black wolf has too much potential, and it takes orders from that human. It must be solved, otherwise it won't take long before the human race will have another powerful person on the throne. No matter which world it is in, this will be an obstacle to the expansion of the evil fallen true clan. Because all the worlds they invade are all lands of the human race. Boom! All the power of corruption suddenly exploded, knocking Haiming out. Fallen Sky compressed the realm and became stronger, then soared directly into the sky. Immediately afterwards, endless depraved power surged from all directions. All evil degenerates are horrified to find that their depravity is out of control and is being drained away. I'll lend you your lives. Fallen Sky's eyes were indifferent. In its eyes, replacing tens of thousands of low-strength evil degenerates with a human genius with the potential for the throne is worth it. As the bodies of all the evil ones withered to death, a giant spear with a length of more than a kilometer, thick and black, condensed in the hands of the evil ones. The air exploded under the terrifying force, and circles of black air rushed in all directions, creating a horrifying scene. But it wasn't over yet. The gray field surrounding him continued to shrink, and after being compressed to the extreme, it covered the pitch-black spear. This is a qualitative change in ascending to the throne. The control of the domain is completely unmatched by the creatures below. Not only can it be spread out to suppress opponents, it can also be compressed to make the power of the field stronger. Attached to a weapon, the power is doubled. Fallen Sky's eyes were dull, and he pointed the black spear at Chen Lin's position. The next moment, Haiming rushed out in an instant, blocking the front with his huge body of 1,000 meters, staring at it. I knew you would come to protect the Lord, so die. Fallen Sky sneered. This is not what it expected. However, its movement stopped in the next second. I saw that the heaven-suppressing prison did not spread over, but kept retracting inward. Under the compression of the power, there was a booming sound, as if it might explode at any time. In the end, it successfully attached itself to Hyming's body and even merged with it. In an instant, the black and gold lines radiated brightly and shone brightly. An extreme force of suppression exploded. Thousands of meters of ground collapsed at the same time, more than 10 meters deep, and countless rubbles turned into powder. Seeing this scene, the words I learned from the human race to express shock immediately burst out from Fallen Sky's mouth. But it quickly reacted, its eyes fierce, destroy it for me. Boom! The 1,000-meter black spear shot straight, tearing the air along the way, like black lightning instantly penetrating in front of Hyming. This blow is almost infinitely close to the destructive power of the seventh ring, which is extremely terrifying. However, under the suppressive force surrounding Hyming, it was like falling into a heavy area, and the speed was suddenly halved. Hyming roared and raised his claws to directly grab the tip of the spear. In an instant, two terrifying forces collided and exploded, causing a shockwave that spread to tens of thousands of meters. The ground nearby even shook under the force of the collision. The black and golden lines flashed crazily, emitting an even more intense light. Under this situation, Hyming's defense and physical strength gradually became stronger, and his body shape did not retreat at all. Amid the terrifying force impact, the ground beneath my feet continued to crack and collapse, tens of meters deep. The fallen shadow swooped down at high speed and slapped the black spear with both palms. The impact suddenly became stronger, and the ground beneath Hyming's feet roared and he retreated a few meters. But that's all. Upon seeing this, Fallen Heaven immediately used all his strength to activate the fallen power, making the black spear even sharper. However, as a result, the phantom also lost its power to gradually dim and dissipate. Boom boom. After the two forces struggled and collided wildly, and spent several minutes at each other, cracks finally appeared on the tip of the black spear, and continued to spread, as if it was about to break. Ouch! With the roar of Hyming, the physical and domain power exploded to the maximum. The 1,000-meter spear could no longer hold up, and it instantly shattered into countless black power fragments and fell one after another. At this time, the fallen shadow completely exhausted its power and turned into black mist and dissipated in the world. At the last moment, Luotian looked deeply at Chen Lin and completely remembered his appearance. Chen Lin was not afraid and looked back. Returning to the Grey Palace, Fallen Sky stood up from the throne. His power was like an abyss. All the witches were so powerful that they couldn't breathe. They pressed their foreheads to the ground and shivered. Its level is only 20, why is the field compressed? Do you want to learn from me? Fallen Sky looked solemnly. This kind of understanding is simply terrifying. Not only does it require comprehension, it also requires the ultimate control of one's own power. Otherwise, even if you understand the operation, you will never be able to do it. The conditions for breaking through to the 10th ring and ascending to the throne require, in addition to condensing the field, perfect control of all the forces within oneself. A point where you can perform to your limit all the time. But that black wolf seems to have done it all while still at level 20. This means that as long as you give it time, you can reach the throne level unimpeded. Thinking of this, Fallen Sky took a deep breath. Once it broke through from the 9 rings, it spent several years in order to condense the domain and control all its own power. But this black wolf did it just by looking at it. It's true that I almost broke it. After carefully recalling the battle process, Fallen Sky suddenly realized that something was wrong. The black wolf's domain did not seem to be attached to him. But it is integrated into the body. Fallen Sky felt that this was a bit too shocking. Fusion of domains with one's own body is something that can only be done by the king level above the throne. Monster. Fallen Sky sighed and quickly calmed down. Its majestic throne will not lose its temper because of a monster who has not yet grown up. Every time the evil fallen True Clan is about to destroy a world, the human race will appear out of nowhere with a few extremely talented beings, and they have long been used to it. And these people are called the sons of the world's destiny. Fallen Sky silently summoned a gray talisman and recorded the information he knew about Chen Lin. This is the must-kill list of the evil Fallen True Clan, and any human genius with the potential to be king will be marked on it. The evil degeneration of all 6 ring strength can be seen, and it is convenient to encounter direct strangulation. After doing this, Fallen Heaven leaned on the throne again, closed his eyes and passed away in silence. But at this time, on the devastated land, the figure of Haiming stood tall, and the black and golden divine patterns that covered his body showed his dominance and terrifying power. Chen Lin released the strengthening and recovery techniques. His mind was extremely dizzy and his vision was dizzy. Even with the mental recovery of Tianquan's sword and staff, the gap with Haiming is too huge, and the maintenance gain is consumed very quickly. After fighting for less than 10 minutes, he died. After scanning the surrounding area, Chen Lin sighed, "It's a pity that all these evil degenerates were sacrificed, otherwise the attributes would have increased again." Seeing Haiming getting smaller, he walked up and touched the head that was leaning towards him. After waiting for a long time, the end time of the upgrade copy rang in my ears. The next second, their figures disappeared. The time has come, start settling the scores based on your performance. A total of 56,666 evil fallen were killed, and the 6 rings of combat power fell into the sky, and 974 people were saved. Congratulations, your rating is perfect. The summoning sword master profession has been improved, with growth attributes from 10 to 15. Congratulations, your skill enhancement technique has been improved and its effect has been enhanced. Congratulations, your skill recovery technique has been improved and its effect has been enhanced. Congratulations, your skill summoning has been upgraded to Holy Summoning. Chen Lin appeared in the dormitory. When he teleported back, he took Haiming back in time, otherwise the place would collapse. After taking a look at the board frame that emerged, I can only say that it's okay. There is no career promotion, after all, the higher level is the hidden level. You should also enter the transfer dungeon again to get a perfect rating. My thoughts moved slightly, and I carefully checked the skills. The enhancement technique increased the basic attributes from 20% to 35%. The recovery spell heals injuries slowly from slow to fast. Of course, the mana consumed is also doubled. The biggest gain is the promotion of summoning skills, with the addition of the word, sacred. After looking at the description, it's simple. His summons this time must be a summoned object with a sacred aura. This made Chen Lin look forward to it. Finally, it is not a very weak existence. The sacred aura sounds awesome when you hear it. However, Chen Lin did not rush to gather the materials and start summoning immediately, but turned on his mobile phone. I searched the internet for the latest reports on Fanyan City, and the first thing I noticed was that hundreds of people appeared out of thin air. Seeing this, Chen Lin breathed a sigh of relief, as long as there was no accident. Keep reading. According to cross-examination, they are members of the same race from other worlds. Due to the evil invasion, their homeland was shattered, and everyone was enslaved and turned into consumables for cultivating heavenly materials and earthly treasures. It was a strong man wearing silver armor who rescued them and teleported them to our blue star. It can be seen from this description that this strong man in silver armor should be a professional who is being promoted. It was also explained later that they would be properly accommodated. Chen Lin is not worried about this. There are other worlds with countless races. This news was announced 10 years ago. It is not incredible. Therefore, there will be no link to pull them to study. There is also a picture at the end. Those people with numb expressions are much better with their skinny bodies. It seems that Zhou Yuan fed them the blood fruit. Thinking of this, Chen Lin laughed, and his tense nerves finally relaxed. A feeling of sleepiness suddenly came over him, and his eyelids became heavy. By the way, it seems like he hasn't slept in 2 days. Boom. Chen Lin fell asleep. How can you sleep at this time? Get up quickly. In the early morning, after the 3 tired people returned to the dormitory, they saw Chen Lin sleeping soundly on the bed. Feng Yi immediately gritted his teeth and went over to pull him down. Chen Lin was confused. What's wrong? Feng Yi's eyes were bloodshot. You have the nerve to ask. He sat on the chair with a sad look on his face. Cao Yang carried the barbecue and silently placed it on the table. Seeing that the 3 of them were all sitting down, Chen Lin felt that he had almost rested, so he went over to eat together. Feng Yi said bitterly. Ever since the military released the video of you killing the three-headed snake, everyone on the forum has exploded. Now that they know you don't rely on old students to guide you, but on your strength, they all feel the pressure coming from them and start to compete. One or two take on tasks all day long and don't sleep at all. This is all we can do, otherwise we will fall behind. Hearing this, Chen Lin was stunned. He really didn't expect this. Then what are you still doing here, are you lazy? Faced with this unexpected question, the three of them fell silent. Feng Yi cried, I've been tired for so long, can't we sleep for 2 hours? At this time, Cao Yang, who was looking down at the forum, suddenly said, I think, why not take away the barbecue and eat it on the way to the mission? The average contribution points of those students in Bailong are much higher than those of all other schools. Feng Yi's eyes widened when he heard this. How is it possible? We young are working so hard, it doesn't make sense. Cao Yang sighed. They sent out a guide on how to complete the most tasks in the shortest time and enlighten everyone. First, form a team of 4 to take on tasks involving 5 mutant beasts in a row, shortening the travel time. Then 2 people work together. After the battle, they get into the armed vehicle and sleep. The other 2 people drive to the next destination to fight. In this cycle, you can even save time for sleeping. It's more efficient than some ruthless people who only sleep 2 hours a day. The 2 fell silent after hearing this, and even Chen Lin put down the barbecue in his hands and was stunned. Can you still play like this? After a long time, Feng Yi raised his head, took a breath, and stood up. Let's go, it's okay if you don't want to eat this meal. Li Zongfeng followed silently. Don't forget to call Luo Zan and Luo Ning. Cao Yang cleaned up and hurried after him. Looking at this scene, Chen Lin laughed. After thinking about nothing else, I got up and headed to the access point. Most of the day had passed, and with the teaming up with Qin Kong yesterday, his contribution points had not changed. His ranking dropped from 10th to more than 2,000. This shows how fierce the competition is. After thinking for a moment, Chen Lin took the next task of killing a level 59 dark gold brutal bear and a level 6 task, then turned around and left. The female soldier was left with blank eyes. Did she read that correctly? That's a 6th turn mission. It is necessary to kill a giant beast with intelligence and terrifying strength, which even the mentor has not accomplished yet. This kid. In the command post, Yang Xiao held his forehead. How come it always scares him? However, remembering that Chen Lin had broken their perceptions many times before, they began to look forward to it. If he really wanted to do it, he would have to show off to Brother Zhang. In the air, drones followed them all the way. This was specially reserved for Chen Lin and stayed over him. When he disappeared before, he probably reached level 20 and was promoted. An hour later, riding Haiming, Chen Lin quickly reached the depths of the mountains and saw the dark gold bear on the open land. Sensing the approaching danger, the dark gold violent bear suddenly opened its dark golden eyes, and its huge body with a height of 600 meters stood up. Just this movement made the surrounding earth shake. The violent aura swept out instantly. Roar, get out of my territory. For some reason, it felt a great threat from this black wolf. Is it obviously so short? Chen Lin silently jumped down, making a small hole, then retreated and handed the battle over to He Ming. No way, He Ming's improvement rate was fast even for him. The level was too high and he couldn't even get involved. If this continues, he will have no choice but to be a coward and will no longer be able to run around with He Ming. Otherwise, you will accidentally be killed by the enemy in one fell swoop. Earn contribution points as soon as possible and exchange rare gold and stone materials for silver butterfly to fuse. Seeing his master retreating to a safe distance, He Ming turned his head and looked at the dark gold storm bear with cold gray eyes. The next moment, his body grew rapidly, reaching over 1 kilometer in length and 650 in height at the shoulders. The ferocious and terrifying power suddenly erupted, and the dark gold bear was trembling with fear. But soon it became angry at this feeling and roared not to be outdone. Oh my god, this black wolf was only a few hundred meters away before, but I haven't seen it for a long time, it seems like a whole kilometer. At the command post, the female officer covered her mouth, a little shocked. What did you eat to grow? Yang Xiao was also surprised. After all, before Chen Lin's summon, there had never been an SSS level growth talent in the human race. Ouch! Become my nourishment. When the earth shattered, Ming's figure rushed out in an instant, black flames exploded in the air, and a vicious shadow of more than 2,000 meters suddenly emerged. A terrifying and violent aura that frightened the beast erupted, and a 6-kilometer range was instantly enveloped in pitch-black flames. However, it quickly shrank back to more than 2,000 meters, which could reduce the consumption of magic power. After the battle with Fallen Heaven, Ming's understanding of domain and power control improved several levels. As for the battle between mutant beasts, because both sides are thick-skinned and have extremely strong health, it often takes a long time to kill them. After the fight, it takes a long time to recover. However, with this technique, you can continue fighting. Roar! With the roar of the dark gold violent bear, sharp air currents appeared all over the body, and the sharp claws on the forepaws showed golden light, which was enough to tear the mountain into pieces with one blow. However, under the ferocious shadow of more than 2,000 meters, its 600-meter-long body is like a dwarf. The raging and burning pitch-black fire claws were photographed, and the dark gold violent bear raised his palms unyieldingly to resist. Boom! Circles of black and golden shock waves exploded, sweeping out in waves, and the entire land was shaking. The sharp energy flow lost its effect and was unable to have half of the impact on the cruel phantom, and was completely swallowed up. The dark gold violent bear felt the pressure like Mount high, and the ground beneath its feet collapsed, and countless cracks spread in all directions, letting out a horrifying roar. After not holding on for long, its knees gradually bent. The dark gold violent bear suddenly roared again, its strength became stronger, the muscles all over its body bulged, and even more sharp air burst out. Roar! I will never kneel down. Its eyes widened with anger, and its voice was full of defiance. Suddenly, the pressure on both palms lightened, and the movements of the ferocious shadow changed. Just when the dark gold violent bear was stunned, Ming had already rushed in front of it, and the huge claws with black light tore and fell, leaving 4 deep blood marks. Roar! The dark gold violent bear was in severe pain, especially after it found that its defense was broken, and the dark flames were devouring its life through the wound, and its eyes were fierce. The two sides started fighting wildly, and countless blood was shed, staining the ground red. Of course, it was all the blood of dark gold bear, and Ming didn't suffer any harm. Relying on the ferocious shadow, it was like fighting 2 against 1, and the dark gold violent bear was miserable. But the terrifying vitality supported it. Even if it was crushed, it did not die in a short time. Finally, dark gold bear couldn't bear it any longer. Roar! Don't force me. Hearing this, Ming's gray eyes looked at it coldly, completely unmoved. Roar! Seeing this scene, the dark gold violent bear knew that it had to kill him, and roared to the sky, the sound vibrating in circles. The aura on his body is rising steadily, and the air current is surging, blowing in all directions. Ming's eyes narrowed slightly, and he was ready. The next second, the ground exploded with a thunderous roar. The dark gold violent bear suddenly turned its head, and the figure instantly rushed out several hundred meters, running crazily towards the depths of the mountains. All the giant trees along the way were broken by it, and the smoke and dust billowed with alarming momentum. Roar! If I can't beat you, why can't I escape? At level 59, you are only 1 step away from the giant beast, and it's not stupid. This scene made Ming, who was new to the world, stunned for a moment, and then he realized what he was doing and immediately chased after him. With an agility of more than 2,500 meters, the speed was extremely fast, and the distance was covered in a blink of an eye. The dark gold violent bear glanced back and was immediately frightened out of his wits. Roar! King, come and save me. The huge roar resounded throughout the world and spread for dozens of kilometers. At this time, a giant beast sleeping on the mountain peak, its breathing roaring like thunder, slowly opened its eyes. In an instant, countless blue thunder and lightning rose up, piercing and exploding around the body. Roar! Along with the terrifying roar that shook the air, countless branches and leaves swayed crazily under the impact of sound waves, and the sound spread over 100,000 meters. The dark gold violent bear suddenly became happy, kept walking, turned around and shouted, "My king wakes up, you are finished." Ming ignored it at all. His gray eyes looked at the center of the distant roar, a little solemnly. Boom boom boom. Under the loud noise of the earth, a giant beast with a shoulder height of a kilometer, with blue thunder spreading all over its body, and the same shape as a bear, walked over while standing. Running next to it, the dark gold violent bear roared, "King, it is the one who broke into the territory for no reason and wants to kill me." Hearing this, the immortal mad bear looked directly at Hyming with flashing blue thunder eyes, with a terrifying majesty and a deep voice, "You are very strong. But you are not my opponent yet, surrender. The human race has trapped us in the mountains for countless days. Now that they have no strong men to garrison, this is the best chance to overthrow them." Hearing that the king wanted to subdue it, the dark gold violent bear shook his head repeatedly, "King, it is a beast that is on the side of the human race, so it is better to kill it." The immortal crazy bear's eyes suddenly darkened, "Since you are a traitor, you must die." After the sound fell, thunder erupted instantly and spread unbridled to the surroundings. Under the violent power, giant trees shattered and rocks exploded. Boom boom. Lightning began to strike continuously in the originally clear sky, and the roars spread tens of thousands of meters away. Black thunderclouds quickly formed, blocking all light. Thunderclouds spread all over and pressed down, forming an eye of thunderstorm above the immortal wild bear, which was extremely terrifying. From a distance, it looks like the end of the world is happening here. The power of the giant beast realm changes the world. This is even stronger than the fallen shadow. After all, it is just a shadow, not a real existence. This level 62 behemoth is even more terrifying than the same level. It seems to have king-level blood. Chen Lin's eyes were solemn. He took out the Tianquan sword staff and immediately gave Hyming a blessing and strengthening technique. "Roar, my king is so mighty. Kill this presumptuous beast." The dark gold bear roared excitedly. The whole body is surrounded by extremely bright blue thunder, with a heavy roar every time he breathes in. The power of the immortal bear is extremely frightening. Everyone in the command center was sweating and couldn't help but feel scared. "Roar, prepare to meet your death, traitor." Roaring like thunder, the immortal wild bear walked up step by step. The distance of more than 10 kilometers could be reached in just a few seconds due to its huge size. The vicious shadow on Hyming's head dissipated, and the dark flames were withdrawn. Seeing this scene, I thought it was the immortal bear that was surrendering, and slowly said, "I want to surrender now, but it's too late. Ouch, there's so much rubbish. Ho, the king has never despised me, but you dare to provoke me and seek death." The immortal mad bear's eyes were filled with anger, and the ground beneath his feet exploded in vain, and he rushed in front of Hyming in an instant. And at this moment, the dark flames intertwined with golden light with the power of terror and suppression instantly exploded from Hyming's body. Mysterious lines of black and gold appeared all over the body, and the domineering power swept across in all directions instantly. This made the immortal mad bear's body sink, and at the same time, the thunder domain was actually suppressed. "Refining the sky and suppressing the prison is my master." At this time, Hyming, who was 1,000 meters in size, was like a god and demon suppressing a world, and his terrifying aura kept shaking his whole body. The immortal crazy bear's eyes were horrified. How could he suddenly be so strong? Looking at the sharp claws tearing apart like black lightning with the power of suppression, it roared and slapped it away instantly with a wave of its palm. Boom! The moment the terrifying black, gold, and blue forces collided, the shock wave exploded like a tsunami, sweeping in all directions with overwhelming momentum. The blue thunder exploded crazily, and the explosions continued. The immortal mad bear tried its best to activate the power of the field, trying to break free from the suppression of the suppressive power. However, the heaven-suppressing prison is indestructible and has not wavered at all. Even the dark realm with the power of the throne cannot be overcome. This is the terrifying realm where Hyming gathers 3 kinds of innate power and merges them. The immortal bear roared angrily, and the other sharp palm carrying endless violent thunder instantly swung away. Hyming was not afraid at all. The black light attached to his sharp claws, and the golden and black magical lines shone brightly, and he went straight to meet him. Boom boom. The 2,000-meter giant beasts kept colliding with each other, exploding circles of shock waves. Under the terrifying force, the earth shattered and the vegetation was annihilated. From time to time, thunderclouds in the sky would blast down streaks of lightning, striking Hyming's body. Every time, it relied on its unparalleled and overbearing defense to resist, not hiding at all. Once there is even the slightest hint of a flaw, there is no doubt that the immortal mad bear will seize the opportunity to pursue an attack, and will be directly suppressed by it. In the distance, Chen Lin watched the terrifying fight between them, which was beyond the 5th level of combat power, and silently gave out recovery techniques. Initially, both sides were evenly matched with slight injuries to each other, but in an instant, one side gained the advantage. This made the immortal crazy bear suddenly furious, roar. You, a human being as weak as an ant, dare to interfere in our battle. When He Ming heard this, his gray eyes turned cold instantly, ouch. Trash, how dare you insult my lord. The offensive instantly became ferocious, not guarding at all but only attacking, extremely cruel and brutal. Roar, Shang go kill that human. The immortal wild bear roared and became crazy at the same time. No one is afraid of anyone. Under the thunder domain, it doesn't believe that this black wolf consumes more energy than itself. Every time lightning strikes, it will have a paralysis effect, which is not obvious yet. When it becomes severe, it will become slow and unable to fully exert its strength. When the time comes, the immortal wild bear vows to kill and tear this black wolf to pieces that has been calling it trash. Ho, King, obey your order. The dark gold violent bear grinned, revealing dense and sharp teeth. He looked at Chen Lin with a cruel look, and his body rushed out in an instant. He looked impatient. This is the black wolf brought by this human to kill it. Ho, I will crush this ant to death and let him know the consequences of provoking me. He Ming was instantly furious, ouch. Seeking death. Its gray eyes exploded with death, turning the area around the dark gold violent bear into a gray life-obliterating zone. However, the mutant beast's health was extremely high, and the dark gold violent bear did not die, but fell to the ground seriously injured. Seizing the moment when He Ming paused, the immortal wild bear roared with thunder, and its sharp claws turned into dazzling thunder pools, instantly hitting its head. Boom! Under the impact of the terrifying force, He Ming's body sank, and the ground beneath his palm instantly shattered. The immortal mad bear seized this perfect opportunity and suppressed it with all his strength. Thunder surged out and launched a crazy bombardment. Seeing this situation, Chen Lin directly maintained the recovery technique, but this consumes a lot of money. At this time, the dark gold violent bear had already stood up with difficulty and rushed over with a roar. The physical body carries too much load to carry the power of the domain. If He Ming merges the domain now and enters the strongest form, he will never be able to kill the immortal crazy bear in the end. When he is exhausted, something will undoubtedly happen to He Ming. Therefore, it is better to kill some time first. In this case, you have to deal with the dark gold bear yourself. But even if it is seriously injured now, the condensed magic sword cannot kill it instantly. After all, the difference is 39 levels, which is a bit big. Just when Chen Lin was planning to make a strategic retreat to delay the enemy, there was a roar in the distance. Amidst the billowing smoke, a woman holding a 4-meter-long halberd and wearing golden battle armor ran towards her. Her speed was extremely fast, and every step she took made cracks in the ground. Her power was terrifying, and her figure was like a dragon swimming in the sea, with unparalleled momentum. The tip of the halberd dragged on the ground, plowing a long, deep mark. When she was about to approach the dark gold violent bear, the moment she raised her halberd and waved it, the head of the halberd suddenly expanded and became more than 20 meters in size. The tall body jumped up high in an instant and slashed towards the dark gold violent bear. Roar! Under the halberd light that blasted through everything, heavy wounds were left on the already seriously injured dark gold storm bear. Staring angrily at this tiny figure, the dark gold bear, who was on all fours, raised his palms to press down on him, as if he was stepping on an ant. The fighting spirit in Concubine Ji's eyes skyrocketed, and the halberd expanded once again, becoming extremely heavy, and the ground under her feet could not help but crack. Boom! Her figure rushed out in an instant. After dodging the blow, the halberd slashed out and passed through the flesh and blood of the dark gold violent bear. Roar! In the state of serious injury with most of its life wiped out, the dark gold violent bear could not exert 1/10 of its strength. It was constantly worn away and roared miserably. In just a few minutes, its huge body collapsed, as if it was about to die. However, just when Concubine Ji rushed up to add the final blow, the dark gold violent bear instantly burst out with extremely dense sharp air currents that could easily penetrate several meters of steel. Under this sudden turn of events, Concubine G seemed to have expected it. Her energy and blood suddenly burst out, almost turning into substance and clinging to her body and halberd. The red halberd light swept away in an instant, blasting away all the sharp airflow that came towards him. Upon seeing this, Dark Gold Storm Bear's eyes were filled with despair. "Ho! No, King, save me." Concubine G's speed did not slow down, her body jumped high into the sky, and the huge halberd head of more than 30 meters came down hard. Boom! The dark gold violent bear's hard skull collapsed directly. Under the astonishing impact, the ground cracked instantly and smoke and dust flew everywhere. Concubine G let out a long breath, her energy and blood slowly dissipated, and her halberd returned to its normal 4-meter height. Glancing at Chen Lin, she smiled with a plain face and walked over. "How about it? Are you very touched by your mentor's rescue?" Thinking back to the ferocious fighting method that was similar to his own just now, Chen Lin couldn't help but think of 3 words in his mind: female Tyrannosaurus. Seeing that he didn't respond, Concubine G narrowed her eyes with a dangerous gaze. "Are you thinking of something very rude? Is this a woman's sixth sense?" Chen Lin shook his head and changed the subject directly. "Teacher G, why are you here? There's a lot of noise, come and take a look." "Really?" Instructor Zhang said the same thing before. The corners of Concubine G's mouth raised. "Oh, then do you believe me?" After taking a look at the halberd in her hand, Chen Linkong said, "Of course." At this time, after discovering that his master was fine, He Ming felt relieved and retracted the Liantian suppression prison to a kilometer around him, and his suppressive power instantly became stronger. Directly break the suppression of the immortal bear. The two sides fought desperately again, madly hurting each other. The ground exploded, the mountains collapsed, and the momentum was terrifying. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.